What a terrific Tuesday afternoon. How are you? And welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Gregor Show is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the province at PlayAlberta.ca. Of course, hey, we could start off with Trade Tuesday. Of course, trade today for Oiler fans. If you are unaware, the Oilers have acquired Trent Frederic, and so at 25%, so just under $600K of his salary. Max Jones, who's was in the NHL for 4 years, but this season has been mainly in the American League, and the rights to prospect Peter Hauser. The Bruins get Max Wayner, the Oilers' seventh round selection a few years ago in the draft, a second rounder in 2025, a fourth rounder in 2026. And New Jersey gets a prospect, Scott LaChance, or the rights to him anyway. He's just wrapping up his second year NCAA. He's huge, 6'5", center iceman, decent hands. So we'll see. If he can ever play in the NHL, you never know with prospects. Like Max Wayner, maybe he'll play, maybe he won't. He unfortunately, he's been pretty banged up. He was just getting back to playing, actually. I thought they might play this weekend, so maybe he played last. I didn't even look, but he hasn't played since middle of December. So the Oilers, Trent Frederic will be in Edmonton, but unable to play probably for a few weeks. His offense is down a bit this season. He had 18 and 17 goals the last 2 years. And I think you can attest, I don't know if you heard the interview with the Boston Reporter. Their offense on wings is down everywhere because they don't have the center iceman. And when I look at Trent Frederic and I look at the Oilers roster, I think it's obvious where he's going to start. I don't know if he'll finish there, but I think it's pretty obvious that we're going to see Trent Frederic playing on a line with Leon Draisaitl. Like, why wouldn't you? That would seem like the obvious one. Leon Draisaitl's been looking for anybody who can finish. Now, Frederic, big, strong, tough, 6'3", 215. He'll throw him if need be. He's physical. He has more hits than any Oiler by significant margin right now. So he'll be a welcome addition to the team. No question. People always worry about, well, what'd they give up? Honestly, when you look at the odds, will that second rounder turn into a player? Who knows? We'll see. And who Boston picks doesn't mean that's the exact same player Edmonton was going to pick, right? The fourth rounder obviously is much lower odds of making it. I don't know if Max Wayner is going to be an NHLer. I don't know. It does, lessen their prospect pool. That's fair. And then you get LaChance for Hauser. LaChance probably comes in a little bit higher rated at this point. But again, I never get too, there's certain guys that are kind of like, can't miss prospects. And then there's others like, yeah, he might be a player. But Peter Hauser, 6'3", 200 pounds, big Czech player. Not a lot of offense playing in the Czech this year. Now he's only played he's only got one goal, right? And so he did get traded. So he's a young player. I'll be curious, when I talk to the Oilers scouts about. I have a buddy who's actually a European scout, non-Oiler. They're always better sometimes because then you get a kind of an unbiased opinion on a player, and who knows, right? Like his numbers right now definitely don't jump off the chart to you like, oh, this is an exciting prospect. Let's be honest here. I don't think, if he becomes even an AHL player, that'd probably be a win at this point. I wouldn't expect much more to be completely honest. So we'll see. But Trent Frederic's obviously the main piece. Now, if Frederic doesn't re-sign, the trade's going to look worse in the long run. No question. But they're willing to take a risk. Now, here's the other thing, though. Trent Frederic comes in Edmonton, gets into a winning situation, although Boston's been a competitive team. But, hey, Trent Frederic's never played with Leon Draisaitl or Connor McDavid. Like, any player in the league is excited because especially if you get the chance to play on a line with one of them. And I would think Frederic's got a decent chance to do that. So he comes here, right, gets in here March, April, May. Who knows? Maybe they go all the way to June. Now he's a pending UFA. But you can look around. Well, you know what? There's other teams, and sure, they might offer me $500K more. But I'm not playing with Draisaitl McDavid. There's no team in the NHL that offers a winger that opportunity, that you can play with one If not two, it's like, well, geez, maybe me and Draisaitl will work. Well, maybe it doesn't. I'll try with McDavid. Right? There's not many teams who offer that. And Frederic's not an older player by any stretch of the imagination. He's not something. Now, I wouldn't back up the Brinks truck for him. He's never scored 20 goals. Right? He just turned 27. So you got, like next year is a 27-year-old year, 27, 28, 29, 30. If you sign him for 4 years, his contract expires, before his 31-year-old season. That's if you get him a 4-year deal. So I think there's some upside there. And obviously the Oilers, when you make a deal like this, I think you're hoping that, when he comes into our organization, sees everything, the advantages Edmonton has now, the facility's great, all that stuff. Obviously the team's competitive. The team plans to be competitive. So those things matter. Now, he is an American from St. Louis. There are some people, and they always, hey, guys from St. Louis who wants to play in St. Louis. Yeah. Where have we heard that? Hello, Toronto. How many Ontario? Well, every Toronto guy wants to play in Toronto. Isn't that it? Are you from Toronto? Oh, well, you clearly want to play for the Maple Leafs. Except we haven't really seen that come to fruition. So either way, we'll talk lots about that. We'll get your thoughts. What'd you think? What do you think of the trade? 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440 in our email inbox. Jeff Merrick will join us coming up here in about 10 minutes' time. Alex Downey, Anaheim Ducks pre- and post-game host, will be by to talk about the Quackers, who are 8-3-1 in their last 12 games, playing much better hockey. Dave McCarthy will be by. Of course, we got Struddy. Terry Ryan will be here. Spec DVD. So it is a loaded show. We got lots of hockey talk. Of course, the trade, the orders. Hey, they got to get back on track. They've lost 3 consecutive games at home. Prior to that, they were 16-3 in their previous 19 home games. Pretty darn good. But then they lost to Detroit, lost to Toronto, lost to Colorado. So I know if you're a season ticket holder, you're a fan who's going to the game tonight, you'd like nothing more than to see a win for the home team. Hey, Gregor, do you know when Frederic's coming back? Well, the timeline I'm hearing is a few weeks. So let's say probably maybe when they come back from that 4-game road trip would be, if we look at it realistically. So, the Oilers play, they have what, 7 games over the next 2 weeks, I think it is. So, and then they're back home because they have a home game tonight. And then, of course, they play on Thursday, and then they play on Saturday. Then they're on the road Monday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. And then they're back. So if we're saying 2 weeks, 2 weeks today would be the Utah game at home. So maybe that's what you look at. They got Utah, Winnipeg, Seattle, Dallas in that homestand, and then Seattle for 1 game on the road, and then back home for Calgary to finish the month. So 5 of their last 6 games this month are at home. They play 3 this week at home. Then they're on a road trip to Buffalo, New Jersey, the Islanders, and the Rangers is where they'll take them. So you would think that Trent Frederic's going to get in, I would say, later on in March. So that seems the most realistic for me. Hey, guys, Connor Murphy and Brandon Carlo, the 2D we should be interested in. Who would be cheaper and who would be better from Bronco Brad? Ooh, good question. I would like Carlo better for me. He has more term, which means he might cost you more. The thing is, now, Chicago can't retain any salary. But both of them make the same amount of money, right? 4.1 mil. But Chicago can't retain any salary, at least until the summertime. So that's probably when a trade for Mrazek seems to be more likely. I would think, simply because who's going to want to trade for a guy? A, he's having a terrible year, and B, I don't think you want him. Now, actually, Murphy's a little bit more. He's 4.4. Carlo is 4.1. So I would, and the retained salary for the Blackhawks, they lose Rantanen and Jake McCabe. So on June 30th, so starting July 1st, they would have 2 other retention slots again. It's a good question. I would probably lean to Carlo if I had to, out of the 2 of them. And I wonder, you just made a trade with Frederic. I'm guessing Carlo's name came up in the conversation, and maybe it got shot down because you would at least consider it. Now, maybe the asking price was too high. I don't know. But if the Oilers do acquire a right defenseman between now and Friday, I think it's obvious that to make money work, one of the guys going out would likely be John Klingberg. I could be wrong on that, but that would seem like an educated guess if we're just looking at salary more than anything else. So 833-401-1440. Hey, guys, this is a bad deal. Americans don't want to play in Canada from Scots. Well, some do, some don't. All depends, right? Connor Hellebuyck's American. Didn't he just sign a long-term deal with the Jets? I think Austin Matthews is American. He signed 2 consecutive deals there. So, no, I don't. Some don't. You're right. Jake McCabe, is he not American? He just signed a contract extension in Toronto. So, some don't. Totally valid. Not all. Hey, guys, any updates on Kane? Trade? Well, nothing on a trade factor. I can't say with certainty. I think trading Evander Kane would be difficult. No one knows. The Oilers don't know. No one knows how good Kane's going to be when he comes back. Right? Like, will he be able to jump right in and play? Historically, you'd be like, it's pretty tough. Right? Like, it's not a guy who got injured in February and then is coming back and has preseason and then gets into the regular season. It's a guy who got hurt in June, didn't start skating until late February, like not on the ice at all until late February. And now he's going to jump in and play, let's, say best case scenario, 8 games in the regular season. And then you get to the playoffs, like maybe. Right now, Kane's always played a fairly up and down straight line game. So it might be a little bit easier. He's not a guy who relied on dangles to be successful, right? Like passing's never been, the forte of his game. So, if some of the finer elements of his game, touch, pass, stuff like that isn't on, I don't know if it's going to matter that much, right? Like if you're a guy who relies on, being a very efficient passer and you haven't played in 10 months, then maybe your passing isn't going to be there. Hey, guys, if you could get a healthy Kane for the playoffs, would that be enough to fill on the orders? Well, if you had Frederic and Kane, you add to the orders. That's a significant difference when I talked about skilled physicality. 2 guys who, if Frederic's on your second line and now Kane's in your bottom 6, you're like, geez, our left side's pretty good. Sure. But it doesn't address the defense. Right now, I don't think goaltending, like I say to people, which goalie? Everybody always talks, well, make a trade for goalie. Who? Right? We've had Kevin Woodley out. He outlined all the numbers. He knows goalies way more than me. And he said, Gibson has some areas where he's better than Skinner. Skinner has some areas where he's better than Gibson. Gibson's had a better year this year. If you go over the last 3 years, no, he hasn't. So is that clearly better when he's that much older? Depends how you look at it. I understand frustration. So sometimes you get blinded and all you see is the frustration. And you're just like, I just want someone new. I just want someone new. And then the new guy comes in and he's not as good. Well, yes, right? The GM can't. The GM has to act rationally, not emotionally. Easier said than done. But that's what they have to do. No problem. Hey, boys, I love the Frederic trade. The guy's built for playoffs. Hopefully he can bring some Cassian-esque energy to both the team and the fans. You need a guy that brings some emotion in the game for your team when you're not scoring or in a bit of a slump. Big fan of this trade. That one comes from the Nard Dog. Ooh, Nard Dog. Is this like Andy Nard Dog from The Office? Sick if it is. Thanks for listening. I like it. Hey, guys, as a Bruins fan, I'm going to miss Frederic's gritty style and skills. Too bad the Bees never sent Carlo from Bear. So Bear's not a fan of Carlo. Carlo having a tough year, Bear? All right. And hey, sometimes that's when you trade for defensemen, is when the value's perceived lower. But Trent Frederic, I could see, if you're a Bruins fan, he kind of fits in. They've always had Cam Neely. You go to O'Reilly. Zdeno Chara, obviously, was huge, physical. Marchand was a little bit of a rat factor, but he had skill. You go down the list, that's always kind of being the player that Boston fans gravitate towards. Now, that doesn't mean they don't like skill. Patrice Bergeron never ran anybody over. He was just a super smart player and very effective defensively. But, Boston has a type of winger, and I could see how Trent Frederic was popular there. And I'll tell you this. I think the Cassian comparison is interesting because Cassian, remember in that playoffs, he's going nuts. The fans are going nuts. They're like, oh, man, this is great. Right? He's an emotional player. And those guys, they help your team, right? Contrary to what some people think, hitting helps your team, right? Good teams have lots of different things. If you never hit, you don't win. If you hit too much, harder to win, right? Depending on how you do it. Right now, Florida's a team that's very physical, and it's worked for them because that's their style. Right? 3 of the last 5 cup winners in the regular season were all top 10 in hits. So please never tell me that, oh, hitting means you don't have the puck and it doesn't help. Well, it actually does help. It's been proven. So, quick break. When we come back, Jeff Merrick will join us and more on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquasential reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade. Safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
The 2025 Ram 1500 Motor Trend's Truck of the Year in St. Albert Dodge is knocking 10% off the price. That's right, 10% off every single Ram 1500 they have in stock, and over 100 are available. These are the 2025's new interior and drivetrain options with increased horsepower and better fuel economy. Other dealers save their best deals for last year's model. At St. Albert Dodge, they're taking 10% off the newest, hottest truck on the lot. That's how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Introducing the new McSpicy from McDonald's. It looks like a regular chicken sandwich, but it's actually a spicy chicken sandwich. McSpicy. Consider yourself warned. Limited time only. Participate in McDonald's in Canada.
It's the 2-day customer appreciation event at Vitality Health Foods. They're offering 25% off regularly priced products in stock, like Dr. Klein's Shilajit, featuring pure Himalayan Shilajit. Customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of each month. Visit Vitality Health Foods today.
Are you tired of waking up tired? Are you tossing and turning all night and stiff and sore the next morning? If your sleep is suffering, it's time to visit the Brick Mattress Store. Their sleep experts will help you find the right support for a restful night's sleep. Back sleeper, side sleeper, hot or cold, there is a perfect mattress for you. Plus, with next day delivery, your best night's sleep could be tomorrow. Check out the Brick Mattress Store locations in Spruce Grove, South Edmonton, St. Albert, and Leduc, and start waking up refreshed.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need: Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Okay, how about you give us your star winger for a bag of pucks? What if I throw in some Will Hawk beef jerky?
Get yourself a trade.
With Will Hawk beef jerky on their side, the Alberta teams definitely have an unfair advantage this trade deadline. Pick up some today and use it for trade leverage in your fantasy league.
No way, man. It's way too good.
Will Hawk beef jerky, only available in Leduc. Get yours today, because you don't win trades with salad.
New Edge Construction wants you. We are hiring for several positions. Join a leading civil construction group in the Edmonton region. A strong team, competitive wages, retention bonuses, and current model equipment are what awaits you at New Edge. Go to newedgeconstruction.com. That's NUEDGE construction.com.
Join a leading civil construction group in the Edmonton region. Start your career now. Go to newedgeconstruction.com.
Explore Internet just got 10 times faster. 5G Ultra brings incredible speeds to homes in rural and small town Canada. Upgrade today at xplore.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. Watch every Oilers game at OTR with $5.25 Molson Canadian, $5 Pink Whitney shots, and 60-cent wings. Plus, play Oilers Score and Win for your chance to win On the Rocks gift cards. Oilers Hockey at OTR. Book your table today, Jasper Ave and 118th.
The best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$2.22. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Also, wanted to let you know we have an cons. Who are we helping out today in the auction?
Today it is the Hope Mission.
Hope Mission, yes. So we have seats in the Chairman's Club. If you've been to the Chairman's Club, dude, this is unreal. These seats are like center ice, right? You get a parking pass. It comes with, meals. And I don't know if you've ever been there. Many of you probably never been down there. But anyway, the Chairman's Club is like right outside the Oilers dressing room. There's a whole glass partition. You can sit in there and watch the players come in and out of the room before warm-up, before and after each period. You have dinner beforehand. You can serve yourself again in their intermission. Also, they bring out the dessert for the second intermission. It's a pretty big deal. There's also snacks, candy, popcorn. All of that's included. Okay, you will enjoy it. So pair of those tonight. Right now, a pretty good bargain at only $800. So you want to help out the Hope Mission and do something you've probably never done, because very few people have ever watched the game in the Chairman's Club. It's pretty sweet seats, I'll tell you that. Pretty sweet seats. They're right. What row are they again, Cons? The actual seats.
I have to take a look. I know the ones earlier today we did were.
I don't care about
good.
those. I
row
just want
7.
these ones.
It's on the sheet there, I believe.
No, I don't see it on the sheet. No, it just says this is all the stuff how to get into.
Row 13.
There you go.
Seats 14, 15, section 101.
All right. So right at center ice, row 13. Okay. So 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Now let's go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's and the Big Mac David here for an extended time. And hey, you could eat it at McDavid's. Of course, the Calgary Trail location has been rebranded McDavid's in honor of the big win for McDavid and Team Canada. Also, his hometown McDonald's, where some of his buddies worked. He was having a chuckle about that. So stop in, get yourself a Big Mac David at McDonald's or McDavid's on Calgary Trail. As we welcome in host of The Sheet, Jeff Merrick joins us. Jeffrey, good afternoon. How you doing?
Mr. Gregor, how are you? Do you want to hear my favorite Trent Frederic story?
Yes.
So you're getting a fun one in Edmonton. You're going to love this guy. So this is years ago. This would have been, I want to say 2019. And Trent Frederic is playing with the Providence Bruins of the American Hockey League. This is such a good line. So Providence is, I want to say it's like November, and they're playing again a game against Springfield. And there's a defenseman on Springfield by the name of Tommy Cross who catches Cameron Hughes of Providence.
Local boy from St. Albert, actually.
There you go. Okay, so Tommy Cross catches Cameron Hughes with an elbow in the neutral zone that comes from the cellar, and like Hughes is out. You can see the whole thing on YouTube. Anyhow, after that, Trent Frederic goes after Tommy Cross. Now, in the American Hockey League, they have the 10-fight rule. So after you have your 10th fight in a season, you start to get suspended.
Yes.
So Frederic fights Cross and then tells them after, either on their way to the penalty box or they're in the penalty box, like Frederic is fuming, like Hughes is out on the ice. It's a vicious elbow. Frederic says to Tommy Cross, Tommy, I got 7 fights left, and I'm going to use all of them on you. You are the only guy I'm going to fight this year. I'm using the 7 I have left all on you, Tommy Cross. It's one of my favorite lines from Trent Frederic.
Oh, God. Did he actually do it? I'd like to look up his fight totals.
I don't think he used up all 7, but they did go a couple of times that year for sure.
Oh, that's great. What do you make of that trade?
I do like it. Love the double retention as well. Like this is, I guess we all understand the sensitivity about the salary cap with the Edmonton Oilers, so this one makes a lot of sense there. I I do like. I know I might be in the minority amongst Boston Bruins fans, but I do like Max Jones as a depth, strong forward. Listen, not exactly a secret that the Edmonton Oilers wanted to get tougher in their bottom six. Players taking liberties with Connor McDavid, taking liberties with Leon Draisaitl. If Evander Kane is healthy and ready to go for the playoffs, Evander Kane and Trent Frederic in the lineup is going to go a long way to curb that. Not that you make trades. I mean, Jason, you know this better than most. Not that you make trades specifically to address how you will play against one team in the playoffs, but I'm a lot more comfortable if I'm Edmonton playing Vegas with Trent Frederic in the lineup.
Oh, God, yeah.
That is a big, strong, tough, snarly, large team. And now the Oilers have someone that can walk up to anybody in that Vegas lineup and say, anytime, big boy, anytime you want it, big boy, I'm here.
Yeah. Well, hey, in an ideal world, you'd have Frederic and Kane. And now you've got two guys on two different lines, and both of them it's not like they're guys who just play 10 minutes a night, right? Like they can add, they can play significant elements. We've seen Kane when he's healthy. Now he's a wild card. I have no idea. He hasn't played since June. So we'll see. He'll be, I get that he'll be motivated and all that. And he might be better suited for a long layoff because Jeff, he plays in straight lines. He's not a real big dangler, right? Like passing's never been the forte of his game. So if you're like, Kane, we just want you to go up and down and hit bodies and, go to the net and shoot. Okay. Like he could probably do that, right? If you're a guy who needs a lot of touch and timing, then maybe the layoff hurts you more. I don't know. But do you think Kane, I know that his no trade or his no movement clause ended. Now he has a 16-team no trade list. Like, I don't think it makes a ton of sense to move him unless you move him and then go out and get other guys to free up the cap space. Okay. But do you think Kane would other teams have any interest in him at this time?
I think that there's always teams that look at Kane and, look at, like, what do you want in the playoffs, right? And what's one of the hardest things to get? First of all, when he's healthy, someone that moves his feet, he's got a great shot, and he brings that toughness intangible that has almost become a luxury item.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, how many times have you heard a general manager tell all the scouts, like, find me someone, everyone can skate now, everybody can shoot, everybody can, fancy moves, like that whole thing, but like, who's someone that's got, like, give me someone that arrives, Fred Shearer would say, like, shortest route to the puck and arrives in ill humor. Like, find me that guy. Like, those guys, once upon a time, like, there were 3 or 4 on each team. Now you're lucky if you have one. So do I think that there'll be other teams that would be interested in that? Of course, the health being the wild card. I always think that there are teams that are interested in that for the playoffs. One more note that I do want to throw in there about Trent Frederic. He kills penalties.
Yeah.
And that's something that Edmonton clearly needs help with. So that addresses that issue as well.
Yeah, I would agree. Jeff Merrick joins. Jeff, what do you make of the man? I love that Seth Jones trade for Florida. What about you?
I like it for both. These are two teams that are in different places in their winning cycle. Florida, obviously, right now, and they get better on that right side. All of a sudden, up and down your right side, it's Seth Jones and Aaron Ekblad. And now they have insurance if Aaron Ekblad isn't coming back at a price that Bill Zito likes or can't afford. I mean, Florida's become a real destination now, right? For teams like the Panthers. It's like, it's the new Tampa. For the longest time, people wanted to go, they wanted to go to Florida, but never wanted to play for the Panthers. That's kind of changed now. And I also like it for Chicago. Like, I'll tell you what, Jason, I was really impressed considering that there were really only 2 teams that Seth Jones was interested in going to. The conversations with Dallas, as I'm told, I don't want to say brief, but it wasn't as if they had, lengthy, long, drawn-out conversations, I don't think, because I don't think that Jim Nill, if he was going to take as much money as, Florida ended up taking, I don't think he wanted to part with, the Maverick Borks or the Logan Stankovens or the Leon Bischels or any of these type of elite-level prospects that they have that are ready to step into primetime roles when Sagan and Ben, et cetera, call it a career. So that was off the board, I think, pretty quickly, although I do think that Dallas, Jason got back into the conversation right before the Florida deal was done. But I'll tell you what, like, I was wondering about, the future of Kyle Davidson. The whispers were out there that, this could be, I don't know if it's like a make or break situation for his job, but the whispers were very much out there about, is Kyle Davidson, the right guy, given how this is his first kick at the can, to make this move, which could alter your franchise either positively or negatively. I don't know that anyone thought that he was going to get essentially 2 first-round draft picks, let alone get a first-round draft pick and shore up his goaltender. And I know it's only one game, but man, did he look good last night.
Yeah.
Pardon the pun, Spencer Knight looked fantastic against the Los Angeles Kings. I got to say hats off, stick tap, tip your cap to Kyle Davidson here. I thought it was one of those good deals for both teams, considering both teams are in different positions. Chicago's still putting pieces together. The salary retention is the salary retention. I think it's an acknowledgement that this team is not going to be, as much as the cap is going up. It's still an acknowledgement that this team's not going to be good anytime soon. So I like it for Chicago and I like it for Florida. And if they win the Stanley Cup again, I really like it for the Florida Panthers.
Well, yeah, for sure. I think I like it long term for them. Seth Jones at $7 million. People aren't going to complain about that at all. I don't think. I think people are going to be reminded that Seth Jones is still a pretty good player now that he's on a good team again.
Yeah. One of the things that I wondered about. Okay, let me know what you think about this, Jason. So one of the things that I wondered about here, and I actually ran this by someone from another team and said, it's funny, we were just talking about this. If it didn't work out where Kyle Davidson couldn't get a deal done, it was very narrow. Like the field for Seth Jones was, it sounds like, essentially 2 teams here. Considering there was $36 million remaining after the $5 million bonus that he was owed on July 1st, could you have seen the way out of this situation, a mutual termination after that $5 million bonus had been paid, which would have left that $36 million? So essentially, if you were CAA, his representation, if you believed that there was 5 times 7 out there for Seth Jones, would you have agreed to a mutual termination, which would have given both sides what they wanted? Chicago would have been off the hook for the contract. I knew they wouldn't got anything for him.
All right.
But also, Seth Jones would have been able to move teams here and not lose any money.
Yeah, I see it, but I think from a Chicago perspective, they're like, man, we just would have wasted all that money on Jones for nothing. At least this way, they got an asset back. And
this way, way better.
Yeah,
they just have to retain. I'm with you, but I was wondering, if they again, it's like a mindless thought process now because they got the deal done with Florida. But I was wondering if that was where this whole thing was headed after that $5 million bonus on July 1st, whether they were looking at mutual termination or Brisson had 5 times 7 out in the marketplace.
Jeff Merrick joins us, a host of The Sheet on dailyfaceoff.com. We are 3 days away from the trade deadline, just under 3 days because officially it would pass about an hour and a half ago. And, the Oilers made their move. There's still lots of teams. I think there's 10, if I count, that are in the playoff spot that are yet to make a deal. And I think some of them, I don't think the Edmonton Oilers are done. I think they'd still going to look at some other options here. Who are the spicy names or the teams that you think are going to who do you think is going to make the biggest splash in the next 72 hours?
I always wonder about Colorado. I mean, they've played with their lineup all season long. They've redone their entire goaltending situation. They're still looking for a second line center, although some believe with some insulation, Casey Milstead may be better than believed. I really do wonder about the Avalanche here because, look, let's face it, that division is probably going to turn into an arms race come deadline. I still think that the Dallas Stars are big game hunting. They were in conversations earlier this year with the Calgary Flames. Craig Conroy is, now seemingly, although I do wonder about this game against Philadelphia. If Calgary, let me ask you this: if Calgary loses tonight, does that change how Craig Conroy feels before deadline? I kind of look at it like Philadelphia last year, where Danny Briere was always, hey, we're in a playoff spot here. Love what John Tortorella is doing. It was no, and then push comes to shove, and it was, okay, we're making trades. Like, I wonder if Calgary loses to Philadelphia tonight, if that's Conroy to change how he's feeling here and maybe move some of those players with term. We'll see. I do wonder about the two heavyweights, and by that I mean Washington and Winnipeg, who are probably looking at this deadline and saying, we should probably tweak more than trade. Whoppers happened before. I know that Winnipeg would like to do something with the second line center position. Washington probably something with the 3C.
Oh yeah.
But I don't think that they're in any dire straits whatsoever. You know, it's interesting. Here's something I'll throw to you, Jason. You know, Winnipeg and Washington are the two teams that have distinguished themselves this season as tops in the NHL. Do you know anybody, Jason, who's picking either of those teams to win the Stanley Cup?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. Like, I think it's changed. Like, if you wouldn't at this point, it might be a little disrespectful to him. Like, I don't see any weaknesses in Washington other than the third line center. And that's why I think if I'm the Capitals, I'm going to get a third line center if I can. Now, Jake Evans just signed. He would have been a good option, but he just re-signed in Montreal. So he comes off the board. Yeah. And what do you make of the Habs? They're into Edmonton on Thursday, Jeff. They've won 4 in a row. They just signed Evans. And, now the Rangers won again last night. So the Habs have won 4 in a row, but they're still 3 points back. And there's Ottawa, the Rangers, and Boston all 1 point ahead of them. Like, where do you see that cluster in the Eastern Conference? And do you like? And I think we lost Jeff, so we'll try to get him back. And because when I look at it, hey, you know what? Geez, we've won 4 in a row. Yeah, but they're still only 5-5 in their last 10. So they don't gain a ton of ground. They haven't gained any ground in Ottawa. They've actually lost ground in their last 10 games on Detroit. They've lost ground on Columbus, even though they've won 4 in a row. Like, if you look at over a 10-game stretch. So, man, if I'm the Montreal Canadiens, I get why signing Jake Evans, $2.8 million, it's a good deal. I understand why they did it. But if I'm the Canadiens, I still would look to consider moving some guys, Jeff, because I still don't think they're a playoff team. I think they're going to be close, but not close enough.
You know, it's an interesting little race right there, right? Like Detroit and the Rangers and Columbus and Boston, like everyone's all within a couple of points of each other here. And all of a sudden Montreal has made this thing really, really interesting. You know, there are some general managers that will look at this and say, you know what, we still need to stay eyes on the prize, and this is great that they've had this nice little run here and excited the marketplace, but we can't take the horse blinders off yet. We want to get to a place where we're consistently good and not mortgage any future. And then there are other managers that'll say, excuse me, full sneeze. There's other general managers that'll say, look, we need to reward this team for what they've done. But not that I'm saying that this Montreal resurgence here is fool's gold, because I don't want to dismiss it that casually. But I just don't know that even Montreal expected themselves to be in this position, and you can set yourself back more in the long term by making, Brian Burke always makes the point, GMs make the biggest mistakes on 2 days, trade deadline and free agency day, July 1st. And you can really set yourself back trying to convince yourself that you're something that you're not. If I'm the Montreal Canadiens, you did a nice little piece of business with Jake Evans. I think it's a really nice number for that player. He's had a really, really good season. I just let it ride. If I'm Montreal, I say, like, you know what? We're looking at Lane Hudson winning the Calder. He's going to be a cornerstone here. We've got some wonderful players. Everyone's in double digits in scoring. Let's just let this thing ride.
Jeff, interesting. Shen Pang tweeting out that Vanacek is being held out tonight for trade purposes. Now, we've seen guys being held out for trade purposes that don't get traded before. That's happened, right? Like Riley Smith did, and we haven't seen him traded yet. When you think of Vanacek, do you think of any team that would be interested in him?
I wonder about Florida.
Okay,
I mean, all of a sudden they need a backup goaltender, right?
You're not on Team Dreger. You're not on Team Dreger.
I not if you're going to win the Stanley Cup. I do like Chris Drieger. I do. I'm just putting myself in the mind of Bill Zito here, and everything has to be about Stanley Cup, not just filling holes. Not that I'm saying that Vitek Vanacek is going to win you the Stanley Cup, But if I'm looking at a place just, having a sports talk radio conversation on a Tuesday before a deadline, that's the one that jumps out at me. Like that was like, as soon as that deal was made on Saturday, my first thought was, okay, who are they going out to get? And now that Vanacek is being held out, I wonder if that's the play here. And listen, he knows the Eastern Conference well too.
Yeah, I know that for sure. Jeff, great stuff, man. Should be a fun next few days. We appreciate your time.
Oh yeah, thanks, pal. Always good, Jason.
There you go. That's Jeff Merrick, host of The Sheet, joins us every week here on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. It is the Gregor Show alongside Connor Halley. If you missed it, of course, the Oilers have made a trade. Trent Frederic is now in order. Mr. Jones Max Jones, that is, he will report to Bakersfield. They also got the rights to draft pick Peter Hauser in the deal. The Oilers trade away a second rounder, a fourth rounder, and Max Warner, the defenseman, as well as the rights to Shane LeChance, who they drafted in the 6th round a few years ago. He just finished his second season at NCAA. And obviously maybe the Oilers didn't think that he would sign here. Got an inkling, or that's, to make make the deal work. They were willing to give that up. So we'll see if it's a lot. Like, that could be a lot to give up just to get New Jersey to retain some salary, because that's essentially what it was, to get New Jersey to retain 25%. So might end up being a pretty good deal for New Jersey. If you're going to say, hey, we're taking 25% of Trent Frederic and we get Shane LeChance. Now, he's a big guy in college, and I've said this at times. I think a lot of times the most overrated prospect in hockey is the college free agent, and guys are still in college, and everybody raves about them in college, especially the Americans, and not a lot of them become who they think they are. It's just going to happen. Hey, I remember Edmonton fans going crazy. Oh my God, I can't believe they didn't sign this guy. I can't believe they didn't sign. And how many of those guys ever pan out? Right? It's the hype rarely matches the production for college unrestricted free agents, for sure. Quick break. Alexis Downey will join us. The Ducks are in town tonight, playing pretty well. 8-3-1 in their last 12 games. We'll talk about the Quackers. What type of moves are they looking to make before Friday? And are they starting to see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel of this lengthy rebuild? Find out next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we believe in the wisdom of Patch Adams. Treat a disease, you'll win, you'll lose. Treat a person, I guarantee you'll win no matter what the outcome. We don't treat conditions, we treat people. From personalized treatment plans to compassionate care, we're committed to helping you achieve your goal. That's why hands-on techniques, unique technologies, and a commitment to hiring amazing people mixed with friendly, fun neighborhood environments. And ta-da! No, it's not magic. It's about being human. Sometimes being human hurts, but life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Attention drivers, it's the Midwinter Tire Clearance Sale at Fountain Tire. Right now, you can save up to 20% off all in-stock winter tires. That's right, premium brands, unbeatable safety, and incredible savings. But don't wait, this sale ends March 8th. And once they're gone, they're gone. Contact your local Fountain Tire for complete details.
This is going to make you hungry. Booster Juice just dropped new guacamole and black bean grilled fresh options.
What the what?
Yeah, a guacamole black bean wrap, guacamole chicken panini, and an egg and chipotle black bean wrap.
What a trio! Holy guacamole!
Bye-bye, boring as bread sandwiches.
Guac, yeah! New flavors, new cravings.
Avocado up to wraps and paninis from Booster Juice. Canadian-born, blending since 1999. Download the Booster Rewards app and order one today.
There's one. And another. No, not spring flowers yet, but rather huge deals. It's GMC's Truck Month at Wolf GMC Buick. Nab 0% financing up to 72 months on our most popular Sierra half-tons, or massive discounts starting at $8,000. Choose your truck from a great selection, like the fabulous all-new Canyon, right up to the trailer-hauling Sierra HD with the industry-leading Duramax diesel. Spring into Wolf GMC Buick today and snag your truck, and see the savings at wolfgmcbuick.com.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at Cantork.com.
Mr. Ruther checks off his bucket list. Skydiving is tops on my list.
I want to go to Bali.
What's at the top of your bucket list, Mr. Ruther?
Definitely the Rubbermaid H2864R. It has 14 quarts of capacity with a spill-free pour spout and a corrosion-resistant handle. Wow, what a bucket.
You know that a bucket list isn't a list of nice buckets, right?
I do. That's how good this bucket is.
For a plumber with buckets of plumbing passion, call Mr. Ruther.
There's an old saying that goes, many hands make light work. We believe that at GS Construction. So what does it mean? It means a task is easier to complete when many people work together. It also means that GS Construction is preparing for the start of the 2025 season and is hiring. Currently, we're on the lookout for top men and pipe layers. So if you're one of those skilled pros who know how to do your job safely and efficiently, we're interested. Come join a team that's as solid as the infrastructure we build and maintain. Visit gsconstruction.ca today.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. We offer sale, rental, repair, and calibration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches, stud tensioners, and flange maintenance equipment. Order today at cantork.com.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Yeah. 2:48. Welcome back, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Owners Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Remember, we got an absolute bargain for these tickets tonight for the Chairman's Club. This is very, very unique tickets. It's row 13, center ice. That's where the tickets are. But the Chairman's Club is down below. Okay, you sit in there. There's all the glass around. You can watch the players coming in out of the dressing room. You get dinner included. You have dessert. You have like, I've seen their, you know me. I got a big sweet tooth. I think they have like 6 to 8 big jars of all different candies, so you can fill up your little bowl if you like and go sit in the crowd. They'll, you can order drinks. They bring them to you. Like, it is a very cool experience, and more importantly, it's like best seats in the house. Row 13, center ice. So it's an absolute steal right now at $800. So this is for the Hope Mission. For many of the most vulnerable in our community. So it's an opportunity for you to help them out and have a great experience tonight. The Oilers' first home game in almost a month, taking on the Anaheim Ducks, who are playing pretty well right now at 8-3-1 in their last 12 games. And let's talk about that now as we get to the Oil Report, brought to you by Volvo Cars Edmonton, where stop in right now and you can, you want to lease an XC90, you want to lease an XC60 or an XC40, you can get all of them right now at great deals, different financing anywhere from 1.49 to 1.99% at volvocarsedmonton.com. And to break it all down, Alexis Downey joins us, pre and post game host for the Anaheim Ducks. Alexis, welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm good. The Ducks are playing better lately. 8-3-1 in their last 12. Led by McTavish, who has 11 points. Like, they've still got a lot of young players, but Cutter Gauthier and McTavish has 11 points in those 12 games. Cutter Gauthier has 5 goals. Are they starting to maybe see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel in this lengthy rebuild?
Yeah, it certainly felt like it with the way the group has been looking. I mean, overall, just the confidence in the locker room and each other it's so noticeable on the ice. There's a lot more chemistry now, and you even feel it when you're at practice. Just they're joking around, laughing. The chemistry's there. So in addition to that, I mean, the way they've been able to come out in some of these games, some tough opponents, and get the job done. They're looking like a different group, and compared to the beginning of the season, there's been a lot of strides on that end. And I think part of it too has been that the younger players are just looking more comfortable. I mean, they've gotten more reps. Leo Carlson goes to the Four Nations face-off, comes back, and he's been playing really well. So overall, it's definitely a different feeling team than we've seen in the amount of time that I've been with the team. So.
And Early on, there was some chatter. Zegras maybe wasn't happy. The Ducks weren't happy with him. That seems to have calmed down a little bit. Kind of how has that growth gone with the coach this year in Anaheim? And, maybe he wants them to play a little bit harder hockey. Are more guys getting comfortable buying into that style of play?
Yeah, I would definitely say so. And that was something heading into the season. I had the chance to sit down with head coach Greg Cronin, and we talked about his first season, what he learned from it, and how at the end of last season, he sat down with the staff, a lot of the players, and just talked about how he led the team last year, things that he wanted to change in his coaching style to go into this year. And it wasn't, an easy transition, first-time head coach in the NHL, and having such a young locker room, and then, of course, having those vets, too. You had to find that middle ground of how do you connect with some of those younger players, but also the older guys. So I think that he has adjusted his style a little bit, and he's leaned a lot on the leadership group that's in the locker room. And they've been a huge part of this team, especially recently. I mean, now having a captain, Radko Gudas, on that end, but not only him, but veterans, Brian Dumoulin, Trouba, Ryan Strome. There's a number of other guys that have stepped up, and head coach Greg Cronin has taken a step back and kind of let them also take the reins in the locker room. And I feel like it's been a good mix that the team has, bought in to this point in the season. And, you can tell they're really playing for something.
Oh, yeah, I would think so, for sure. When you look at Jacob Trouba, how's he fit into that team?
It's been a good fit for him. Obviously helps when you've got two of his good buddies, Ryan Strome and Frank Petrano here. He was excited to come play with them. But yeah, he's fit in really well with the D-core. And it's been interesting watching that group right now, because there's been the rotating between Olen Zellweger and Pavel Mintyukov. You obviously want to get both of them minutes, being such young players, and it's important to get them those reps, but they've had to do that rotation because of, having Trouba, having Brian Dumoulin coming in. So I think that Trouba has been a nice addition to the group in the sense of what he's been able to bring back there. Just a little bit more of, you can tell he has the repetitions, just more experience, and he's worked well with Drew Hellison. That's mainly who he's been partnered with. So I've really liked the addition of Jacob Trouba, and I know that was such a big topic back when it happened. What's it going to be like? He gets a fresh start out here in Anaheim, but I think it's been a seamless transition for him, and he seems very happy.
Alexis, when you look at the Ducks, and they're unlikely to make the playoffs this season. When you look up and down their roster, do you see players that are maybe a little nervous here, like Robbie Fabry, potentially Brock McGinn, Brian Dumoulin would be one. Teams are always looking for defensemen. Expect to see some action, and do you think there's a chance John Gibson gets moved?
Yeah, it's obviously started out as a quiet week so far, but we know that GM Pat Verbeek likes to make a splash when he can. I think that when you look at this roster right now, especially for, you mentioned Fabry and McGinn, with them being out right now, sort of a tough situation, particularly for McGinn long-term. Robbie Fabry, he's on the IR, but maybe not quite as long-term. But I think that, they're at a point where they don't want to necessarily be sellers anymore. We're at the point in the rebuild where things are starting to turn. Brian Dumoulin has been a great addition, and he made it known this week that he really likes it here. He loves the fan base here. Kind of pleasantly surprised on that end. So I think it's a place that he wants to stay, obviously up to Pat Verbeek on that end. But it's kind of been smooth sailing so far. And maybe something where we could see a change towards the end of the week. But, it has been a little quiet on that end. And, I guess kind of we'll see what happens.
Lucas Dostal is having such a heck of a season. And, it looks like when you look at kind of time-wise, I know Gibson still has 2 years left, and even if he isn't traded, it seems like Dostal's their guy now moving forward. If Gibson isn't moved at the deadline, does it seem logical that he would get moved in the summer?
with the way that the goaltending has been handled this year, they've both gotten a lot of games between the two of them. John Gibson's had some injuries, been out here and there, but it has been trending in the direction that Dostal is going to be the guy here in Anaheim. He's played a lot of minutes and he's looked really good this season. Very impressive, and I know our fan base loves him out here. So I think that, especially for him too, to win the World Championship with Czechia over the summer, being that number one goaltender, it was such a big summer for him to come in here and then be in this situation with John Gibson. A little difficult on that end, but obviously someone that he's been able to learn from. So should John Gibson, down the line, whether it is this week or in the summer, should that happen, I think the Ducks have been able to be set up for their future with Lucas Dostal.
And lastly, young Jackson Lacombe has, he's playing the most minutes on their back end lately in this 12-game stretch where they're 8-3-1. He's got 10 points, including 3 goals, all at 5-on-5. I'm looking at, he's actually outscored elite and middle tier competition 10-2 in those 12 games. Like the Jackson Lacombe, now is he their number one defenseman?
He has been so exciting to watch this season. Honestly, I've enjoyed talking to him about his growth this season too. And I think the shift in what I saw was when Cam Fowler was traded to St. Louis, Jackson Lacombe stepped up. He really had, there was a role to fit. And for him, it was a big opportunity and he's done so well with it. Coming into the season, the hockey operations staff here said that Jackson Lacombe was one of, if not the most improved players from the summer. He put on a lot of weight, got a lot stronger, and they were very high on him into this season. And I think he's definitely been underrated this year and what he's been able to do. But the one thing that he's shared with me is just he feels so much more confident in his game, which is very evident in his play. I mean, he's getting time on the power play. He's obviously getting a lot of ice time as well. So, and playing alongside Radko Gudas, again, another guy to learn from. He's been so impressive and someone that the team has needed, and his offensive abilities are really, really incredible too. So I think that this is just the beginning for him. And he's someone that the league needs to take a look at because he's been so good for the team this year.
Alexis, should be a fun game tonight. Thanks so much for your time. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
The Ducks in town tonight to take on the Oilers. That's Alexis Downey. Edmonton is 11-2 in their last 5 years against the Ducks. Since 20, well, I guess that's 21, 22, 23, no, 5 years. Yeah, they're 11-2. So they've had some success against Anaheim. The Quackers, as I mentioned, 8-3-1. They beat Dallas. They beat LA. So they've been some decent teams here as of late. They won't just be an easy pushover, but Edmonton, if they can play similar than how they did against Carolina, where they limited the gross errors down defensively, I think they got a really good chance to win tonight. But, the Ducks come in, they're a relaxed team. They're a young team. Some guys feeling good about themselves. Jackson Lacombe, watch out for him on the blue line, man. Good young defenseman. Mason McTavish, huge, man. Him and Cutter Gauthier, two big bodies on that line. That, they're young. They don't necessarily have the high-end ability yet, but I think they're coming for Anaheim. And they're the type of players that Pat Verbeek really want to have in his room. So we'll see where they go. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by your Alberta GMC dealers. Truck month is on now at GMC. You can get a $5,000 cash purchase credit on a 2025 Sierra HD models. See more at gmccanada.ca.
1440 update.
Busy morning for the Edmonton Oilers as they acquired Trent Frederic and Max Jones from the Boston Bruins. The Oilers sent defenseman Max Wanner and a 2025 second-round pick that was originally St. Louis, as well as the team's fourth-round pick in 2026 to Boston for the deal. The New Jersey Devils also involved. They received Shane Lachance from Edmonton to facilitate the deal, retaining 50% of Frederic's salary. The Oilers also received unsigned draft choice Peter Hauser in the deal. He was selected in the 2022 draft in the 5th round by the Devils. The Montreal Canadiens keeping Jake Evans in Montreal on a 4-year deal worth $11.4 million. On the ice tonight, the Oilers are in action, taking on those Anaheim Ducks. Puck drop 7 o'clock. Pre-game coverage with myself and Donovan Paulson. It's going at 6 right here on Sports 1440. Elsewhere, Red Wings taking on the Canes, Sharks in Buffalo, Lightning up against the Jackets, Flames are in Philadelphia, Islanders host the Jets, Devils taking on the Stars, Avs meet the Penguins, and the Wild head to Seattle to take on the Kraken. In the association, the Raptors head to Orlando. They'll take on the Magic just after 5 o'clock. You've also got the Pacers and Rockets, Bucks in Atlanta. Knicks host the Warriors, Cavs take on the Bulls, Spurs, Nets, Clippers, Suns, and the Lakers hosting the New Orleans Pelicans. In the AJ, White Court will be in Bonneville. That one gets going at 7 o'clock. PWHL action, Minnesota up against Montreal at 5. From the NFL, Saquon Barkley's record-breaking season has been rewarded by the Philadelphia Eagles as they signed him to a 2-year contract extension worth $41.2 million, making him the highest-paid back in NFL history. And 3 weeks of parting ways with Aaron Rodgers, the New York Jets are releasing his favorite wide receiver, Devontae Adams. The Jets have also given permission to wide receiver Allen Lazard, another Rodgers favorite, to seek a trade before the start of the league year on March 12th. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we will be joined by our co-host, former NHLer and Shoresy star Terry Ryan, and we'll go around the NHL with Dave McCarthy from Sirius XM. I'm Connor Halley. This has been the Sports 1440 Update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Noodle, 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 noodle. Noodle, 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 noodle.
Throw the load down to Oodle Noodle tonight because dine-in is open. Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Do it, do it, do it. Your vehicle is a big investment. Protect it at Hughes Car Wash. We use only clean, fresh water and the highest quality car wash. So, Hughes Car Wash, the car wash pros.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com. It's the 2-day customer appreciation event at Vitality Health Foods. They're offering 25% off regularly priced products in stock, like Dr. Klein's Shilajit, featuring pure Himalayan Shilajit. Customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of each month. Visit Vitality Health Foods today.
Play Alberta has hundreds of casino games right at your fingertips. Join thousands discovering why Fortune Coin is one of Alberta's most popular games. Fill your reels with golden coins, multiply your prizes up to 6 times, and turn good spins into legendary ones. Land the Fortune Coin symbol to win cash, trigger the jackpot, launch the free spins bonus, and watch as the dragon takes over your screen. New players get 100 free spins only on playalberta.ca. Claim your offer today.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Edmonton's biggest St. Patty's Day party is at On the Rock.
Party at OTR March 14th to 17th as we celebrate St. Patty's Day the way it needs to be celebrated.
Look at the Irish.
96 hours of green beer.
5,760 minutes of mayhem, including live entertainment.
Irish dancers.
I'm not, what their ability yet, but I think
Patrick's Day at On the Rocks. On the Rocks.
Your Kiss Me, I'm Irish headquarters.
Only if you're into that sort of thing.
Jasper Ave and 118th.
You know what they say about March. In like a lamb, out with a Honda. Or is it in like a lion out with a Honda? Either way, Sherwood Honda has inventory on the lot, so you can march right down and get yours today. New or used, sedan or coupe, SUV or truck, Sherwood Honda has it with financing available. And their service department will keep you rolling as time marches on. This March, you have an in at Sherwood Honda. Now sing us out.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Culligan. For all your residential water needs, your local water treatment company. More than just big bottles, Culligan.com.
From puck drop
to kick off. It's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 3 o'clock, welcome back. It is game day on Sports 1440. Connor Halley, Jason Gregor, Declan Kruger running things at Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. For those listening at Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, thank you very much. A busy afternoon. Of course, the big news, the Edmonton Oilers have acquired Trent Frederic. They also got Max Jones. He'll report to Bakersfield, and Peter Hauser, who was a former pick of the Devils. They exchanged his rights to Shane LaChance, and the Devils retained 25% on Frederic's contract to make the deal work for the Oilers. Oilers also gave up a second and a fourth rounder to the Boston Bruins. Now, Max Jones did play 4 years in the NHL. Last year in the NHL, like 6'3", big body, actually a pretty good skater. He was in the 85th percentile, a top end speed amongst forward, and he was in the 82nd percentile of bursts above 20 miles an hour at 132. So he can skate, but doesn't bring you a lot of offense. Big body, though, huge. And, I wonder, do they they want that in Bakersfield? Would they give that a look here later on down the stretch? We'll see. I think it's apparent that the Oilers needed to add a physical element to their group. Trent Frederic can play. There's no question about it. Like, he can play. And now he won't play for probably a few weeks. Still maybe a few weeks away. So you're not going to see him on this 3-game homestand. You might not see him on that 4-game road trip, but 2 weeks from tonight, you could see him against the Utah Hockey Club. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Let's welcome in to the show. We have I should be before quickly. We got to get this up. This is the Hope Mission. This is an unbelievable set of tickets. There's section 101 right at center ice, row 13. They're in the Chairman's Club. Like, these aren't just seats. Like, we sell seats in the lower bowl for more than this. This is in the Chairman's Club that you get access right there. Maybe you've never been down there. It's right outside the Oilers locker room, in fact, and you'll see them walk from the locker room to the ice, kind of like at the old school. Remember when you used to sit at the bar at Rexall down below? Well, you're in the Chairman's Club. You got a table, and you have dinner served for you. You also have all sorts of desserts later on. You have a whole canning thing all night long. You sit in your seats. They'll even bring you got a server that comes to your seat. So it's a steal of a deal right now, only at 800. So 833-401-1440. 833. Well, there's 800 on one ticket pair. We actually have two pairs of tickets. There's 800 on one and 600 on the other one. So, hey, if you want to get to 700, even better. But either way, should get those up for tonight's game, the Oilers and the Ducks, as we welcome in former NHLer, of course, stars in Shoresy as Hitch, two-time author in the Newfoundland Sports Hall of Fame. Terry Ryan joins us. TR, how you doing?
I'm all right. Thanks for the intro. As always, I'm good. I'm just getting settled. We've been doing stunts for a couple days, rehearsing all those things, the plays we're going to do and all that. And then we go to camera tomorrow. It's a pretty exciting day. I'm exhausted, but it's a nice day.
So you're filming season 5 of Shoresy, correct?
Yeah, we are. And I was all over the place coming in. I went from Newfoundland to LA to Toronto, out to Bonnyville, Alberta. It was a great time. And then back here and just settled. As soon as I got in, we met up for chat. But to eat a couple of beers, but now we're at it. We're doing some stunt rehearsals, play rehearsals, all that stuff, all that on ice stuff. We're just practicing. And then we go tomorrow to actually start doing it with background and full-on jerseys and the plot and all that stuff.
So after an off season of training, basically your shirt will be on more this year. So that's maybe a good news. We'll see. Trent Frederic, TR. We talking about him. I've outlined it or talked about it last week. The Oilers need for they needed a guy like Trent Frederic. He was number one. For need for a fit of what the Oilers lacked, and I think Trent Frederic brings it. Now he's not going to bring it for a few weeks because he's still banged up a bit. He was seen in a walking boot, but they say it's nothing serious. He'll be out a few more weeks. What do you make of this deal for the Oilers?
I like it. I do. And I looked, I couldn't remember where I heard the name. Is it Max Jones? I'm already after forgetting that they threw in.
Yeah.
I think he's pretty intriguing too. If you look at his background and he's only a young kid. Trent Frederic, I love it. And especially with so much uncertainty about the Evander Kane situation. I'm sure you might have probably already just said that, but it's an intriguing player that likes to go to the hard areas. that has played in an organization that's got a reputation for being, at the very least, very professional. So, this kid's been groomed the right way. I think it's for me, I'm very excited. Of course, you never really know, but this to me is a 9 out of 10 going in.
Yeah, I like this trade for Edmonton. I know some people, it gave up prospects. And I always ask people, so you get up about a prospect, and then I said, have you seen him play? What do you like about their game? And some people they overvalue prospects. Now, Max Winter might be an NHLer down the road. I have no idea. But the Oilers aren't worried about a guy. Realistically, like, is he going to be, if he does become an NHLer, and for his sake, I hope he does, he's probably going to be a third pair. Nothing wrong with that. But, the Oilers need to win now. And, like, if you want to get a good player, you got to give up something. That's just how it is. And, when you have teams retain some salary, then usually you have to throw in an extra pick to make that happen. And that's just how the salary cap goes. And, we'll see now. Hey, the Oilers put themselves in this situation a little bit. Yeah, they've had some of their summer signings that haven't worked out. Jeff Skinner's healthy scratch again tonight, TR. Like, if you're the Edmonton Oilers, I think you're going to try everything in their power to try to move him before Friday. It's just not working in Edmonton. I think it's clear the Jeff Skinner experiment has not worked, unfortunately, for either side. That's what I see.
Yeah, and there's someone out there, I don't think, I think it's just a weird fit, especially when he started, I'm not going to say catching fire, but he started to gain a bit of momentum, and he's not playing at all, probably less now than he did when he wasn't. So I guess the writing's on the wall, but I don't think the guy has aged himself out yet. I think there's an opportunity somewhere in the league for him to help someone, whether it's playoffs or whether it's, maybe be a leader for the younger kids, whatever. I think he seems to have a decent attitude. I just think it was the wrong fit.
Yeah, it hasn't worked out. His speed, hanging onto the puck, just his style of play. And now that's where I think it's fair to say, what were the scouts watching? Because I don't think Jeff Skinner was that. You're not suddenly slow. Like, Jeff Skinner's speed was always Jeff Skinner's speed, right? Like, I went and looked at NHL Edge. It's not like he's drastically slower this year than he has been in previous years. Like, this is kind of who he is as a skater and his style of play. So I think you can say, Edmonton, they thought it was a fit, but I don't know if they dug deep enough into what he does well and what he doesn't do well to think that it works. Because anybody who plays with Draisaitl knows he doesn't play well with guys who, like, he's the best or one of the best in the NHL holding on to the puck. You want to hit the puck on his stick, so you want guys who move the puck to him and don't carry it. And that's not really Skinner's game, right? So I don't know, it hasn't worked. And I would think with the fact that, the last few games he played, I didn't even really notice him in the games, right? Like, Matt Savoy sat down for 3 consecutive games, and I barely noticed Jeff Skinner in any of those games. And I think, to me, that's probably the final straw, because I noticed Savoy in the games that he played more than I noticed Skinner in the last 3 games that he played.
It's funny, because as you're explaining the same, a very similar approach to the situation. Let's just say you're playing PlayStation and you're running the Oilers and you're making trades and you're signing guys in the summer. You would probably back off of that deal for all the reasons you already said. So sometimes it's as obvious a decision. The fans aren't always right, but I think most people in this case probably saw it being a deal that didn't work out before the people that actually made the deal did.
We'll take a quick break. Dave McCarthy is going to join us, and we'll get to more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Just tell him we can't do that. I want to do that thing. We'll do $100.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. The team in Old Strathcona have special training dedicated to reducing the impact of cancer care before, during, and after your diagnosis. From lymphedema to the management of fatigue and side effects of chemotherapy and radiation, they can help. Learn more at leadingedgephysio.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$321 Sports 1440, Orders Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you. So, gents, this might be the best deal we've ever done on the program, because we've done these for good tickets, but we've never done it for tickets like this. So we're going to take 10 people at $100, and one of you is going to win 2 seats to the Chairman's Club tonight. That's row 13, section 101, right at center ice. That includes the meal before. It includes a parking pass, dessert, everything. You're going to sit right outside the room. It's unbelievable. It's one of the best places to watch the game. Obviously, it's center ice, row 13. You're just right above the glass. It's phenomenal. had the luxury to sit there before, and I can tell you, you get an unbelievable appreciation of the game. So you're going to help out the Hope Mission. So if you want to go, 1 in 10 chance, $100. If you don't win, you make the donation to the Hope Mission. Just text in your name with $100, and then we'll send you the link where you can donate, and then we'll do the draw. So very easy. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. And you could help out Hope Mission. So we'll only take 10, and then we're done. So 833-1440, 833-401-1440. We already got 2. So Sean and Scott, Ed, you're in. All right, there's 3, there's 4. It's going fast. I thought, because this is unreal one. Unreal. So we'll get to 10, then we'll do the draw. Now, let's go in the room, brought to you by Action Electrical, where one of the most diversified electrical contractors in the country. Go to actionelectrical.net. They can help you out. As we welcome in Dave McCarthy from Sirius XM. Dave, how you doing, my man?
Hey, what's up, boys?
Oof. Hey, lots is going on, Davey. What do you think of the trade for the Edmonton Oilers? They get Trent Frederic. They also get Max Jones as a maybe. You know, we'll see. He's been in the American League, although he was 4 years in the NHL prior to that with the Anaheim Ducks. They get a prospect in the Hauser. They give up 2 prospects. They give up 2 picks. What do you make of the deal?
Well, Trent Frederic is a guy that we were actually talking about in the press box on Monday when the Leafs took on the San Jose Sharks. Is a guy that would look really good in Toronto. And quite frankly, I think he also would look really good in Edmonton. You know, much like the Maple Leafs, the Oilers could use some certainty on their third line. And I think Trent Frederic is the type of guy that brings exactly what the Oilers are looking for in that regard. And he's a little bit of a different looking type of player compared to some of the guys that Edmonton has, which is primarily not that big, not that physical of a team. Trent Frederic, he's a lot bigger than I think a lot of people realize. You stand up close to that guy. I don't know, for whatever reason, when he first came into the league, I always had him in my mind as kind of like a Ryan Lomberg-y type player, like a smaller, energetic, physical type guy. Trent Frederic is big.
Oh,
he
yes.
is big. And that'll help. So he brings size, he brings physicality, he brings toughness, but he can also contribute a little bit. Like, he's got the ability to chip in some big goals from time to time down the lineup, kind of like a Blake Coleman, like a Barclay Goodrow, like a Yanni Gourde, that type of line that Tampa Bay used so well during their cup runs. Trent Frederic, I think, is the type of guy that can help bring that to Edmonton. And Max Jones, we'll see. I mean, he's a depth guy to me at this point, but I think Trent Frederic was a really, really savvy addition just because the Oilers don't have many of the types of many types of guys that bring what Trent Frederic brings. And I think it's a really important set of ingredients to have on a championship caliber team. So I think good deal from Stan Bowman and the Oilers.
Any concerns that he's not going to be ready for a few weeks?
No, because I think he's going to be ready when it matters most. And I think the Oilers will have done their due diligence to ensure that that is the case. You don't need him. You don't need him now. If you can get into the final, whatever it is, 5-10 games, that's great. But this is a guy that understands what playoff hockey is all about. It's not going to be a surprise to him. He's played that type of hockey for many years with the Boston Bruins. So you'd like to get him back sooner than later so that he can develop some level of chemistry with whoever it is Chris Knobloch decides he's going to play with. But it doesn't really worry me too much because the type of role that he brings, I don't think he is predicated so much on chemistry as it is on effort and hard work. And if you're getting that from the entire line, and they're a pain to play against, he's not a young guy. He's a pretty savvy guy. I think he'll be able to pick up where he's supposed to be fairly quickly. I don't think that concerns me too much at all. Look, I mean, put it this way. Here's an example for you. When the Maple Leafs acquired Ryan O'Reilly a couple of years ago, he came, he played a game or two, then he broke his hand. He was out for the final, whatever it was, until like 2 or 3 games left in the year. Came back, and man, was he great when he was in Toronto. And quite frankly, he helped them win a playoff series that year. And so Trent Frederic, similar situation, not ideal that he's not available, but I don't think it's that much of a concern.
TR?
Dave, the standard model of physics has many inconsistencies with the theory of general relativity, obviously.
What?
Can you
Who is this guy?
Oh, wait, wrong question. Jack Adams, John Cooper, give me your case.
Well, I'll put it this way. I think I might need a physics equation as complex as whatever the hell that was that you just rhymed off to explain why John Cooper has yet to win a Jack Adams award. It makes no sense.
Give me your argument. I know that you're big on him this year.
Yeah, it makes no sense, much like what I heard you just say.
Yeah.
So, look, I think John Cooper suffers from too good-itis. He never comes into the year with expectations being low. They've always been, if not a championship caliber team, without question a playoff team during his tenure. So he never gets that benefit of being the new guy that comes in and drags a team to an echelon that nobody expected them to be coming into the year, much like a Spencer Carberry this year. Or, maybe Scott Arniel this year with the Winnipeg Jets. They're having an otherworldly type season. You look at Tampa, where they are in the standings right now, and the general response is, yeah, that's where they should be, right? And nothing to see here. And I think he gets screwed because of that. But if anything, the amount of change, I implore people, go back and look at the roster that was on Tampa's last championship team a few years ago and compare it to today. And it's undergone a dramatic amount of change around the edges. The spine is still there, but they've worked a lot of new parts in that they depend on. And yet they really haven't missed a beat, and they continue to be a team that, they absolutely could go on a run in the Eastern Conference. And I think John Cooper deserves a lot of credit for it, because it's not that easy to continue to manage elite level players like the Points and the Kucherovs and the Hedmans and the Sorellis and the Vasilevskis, and keep everybody happy and keep everything going in the same direction. It's not easy to do that. And John's done a really good job. We saw it in a short example with Canada at the Four Nations. If for no other reason, the fact that they are where they are yet again this year, they've gone on another nice run. They're going to be a team that deserves a lot of attention heading into the playoffs. I think it's time for John Cooper to win, if nothing else, a Lifetime Achievement Jack Adams Award, because it'll make the guys going into the Hall of Fame first ballot whenever he decides to shut it down. It'll make no sense if there is no Jack Adams on his resume. It's time. And it's not to take away from what Spencer Carberry has done or Scott Arniel, or there's always a number of candidates, but it's time he wins one.
Yeah, Carberry is definitely a good candidate for sure. Dave, we had the Seth Jones trade. That's significant. We see that Vanacek is being held out. Riley Smith was held out, hasn't been traded yet by the New York Rangers. There's lots of teams currently in a playoff spot that have yet to make any moves. I think we're going to have a flurry of activity here over the next 72 hours. Well, I guess it's even less than 72 hours now between now and Friday. And, there's a few teams needs to want to get your thoughts on. The Montreal Canadiens, they just signed Jake Evans today. Now, they've won 4 in a row, but they really haven't gained any ground at the end of the day if you look at their last 10 games on those teams. Do you think do the Habs still sell, or do they believe that they can somehow squeak in?
Well, I think I wouldn't be surprised if Montreal does nothing, really. Like, they're not in a position where I would recommend going out and acquiring significant pieces or pieces that are going to cost you a significant return. They're not there yet. But you look at where they are, and with 21 games left, they're a point back of the Detroit Red Wings for the second wildcard spot, though they got to pass Ottawa, New York, and Detroit to get there. But they're a point back. So I think they look at it and say, well, maybe we won't go out and make a huge amount of moves to bring pieces in because they're not a Stanley Cup contender. But look, they made a signing with Jake Evans, and I thought that was a reasonable signing for what he brings, the role that he plays. I thought they got a nice amount of term for a guy who's not old. He's a later 20s guy, but still I think fits in their window to contend at a really reasonable number. So I thought that was a good deal. Makes more sense to me to keep him at a number like that and a term like he signed for than a second round pick. Because I think they see him holding value next year as well and down the road. So, don't bring anybody in, but I could see them just standing pat. And what they're going to be able to do is get a lot of information now about their group with 21 games left and finding themselves in a position where the results really matter. And I think there's a lot of value in that. So, I don't see Montreal doing a lot. I think they're just going to be quiet. They're going to stand pat. And I think they're going to use this final stretch to get a really good idea of how the guys that they think they can depend on will deliver when the games at this time of year actually mean something. And this year for them that they do.
Yeah, it would be good for sure. What about the Ottawa Senators? Like hey, I'll give them credit, man. They're down 3-0 in Washington. Really hard place to win. They battled back and were able to tie it and at least get a point, and every point matters at this point. So I think that was a huge, mental point for the Sens. They do have a pretty favorable schedule down the stretch, no doubt. They only have one game outside the Eastern Conference, and that's in Chicago. So they don't have any travel issues, and they have a lot of home games. If you're Steve Staios, what are you looking at doing?
Well, I think more so than Montreal, it really matters for Ottawa to make the playoffs because they've been telling us for many years now, 3 years, that here's their time. They're ready to make their move and get back to being competitive. And then every year they tremendously disappoint. So, look, I don't think Claude Giroux is going anywhere. He's an unrestricted free agent. He's staying. You look at down the lineup, Nick Cousins, they don't really have a ton of UFAs that to me would garner much in the way of a return. So I don't think any of their guys that they have that are potentially UFAs are going anywhere. Again, though, does it make sense to pay a huge price? Also not sure, just because they're not a cup contender either. I think this is going to be, again, a great year for Ottawa. Now that the games matter, because they haven't mattered at this time of year, really beyond Christmas ever before with this group. Now they do. Let's see what you have got. You keep telling me in Ottawa that you're ready to go. I can only believe it until I see it, and I haven't seen it yet. And they've remained very inconsistent. So I think they've got the pieces where they can absolutely play well enough down the stretch to find their way into a playoff spot, because it's not exactly like it's a horse race. I mean, you're looking at Columbus, Detroit. The Rangers have been wildly inconsistent. I think Boston's pretty much done, to be honest with you. If you can't beat any of those teams in the playoffs, then, that's more of a concern to me than anything else. I don't think they're going to be too active either. I think they'll, just like Montreal, be relatively quiet heading into the deadline and use this as an opportunity to gain some information on the guys that they have. But they need to make it. If they don't make it, this would be, I think, a really disappointing year. And then I could see them doing for instance, a forensic audit, if you will, of their organization to see why some of the guys that they feel they can depend on tend to wilt when it matters most.
TR?
Stolarz, you think he's established himself as the guaranteed starter for the Leafs, or is Wall still being talked about? What do you think?
I think it's still a debate at this point. If I had to bet, I would start Anthony Stolarz, but I do think both guys are going to play in the playoffs as well. I don't think the Leafs are going to be a team that turns to one guy and says, okay, you're now the number one guy, and whoever is the backup, you're the backup until we tap you on the shoulder. I think it's highly plausible that both guys will see time in the first round outside of a circumstance where it's mop-up duty or panic time because one guy's gotten 3 starts and now you're down 2-1 and now you're grasping at straws. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Stolarz plays game 1 and Wall plays game 2, to be honest with you. Just because, quite honestly, both guys have been really, really good. Joe Wall, I thought, maybe had his worst game of the year the other day in Pittsburgh. I did not think he was very good at all. But beyond that, he's been excellent. And Anthony Stolarz has been excellent too. So I think both guys, quite honestly, have earned an opportunity as well. And I don't think it's a situation where Craig Berube has got his heart in his mouth if he turns to one guy, because I think he's got confidence in both guys. And I think both guys have played well enough to earn that confidence and earn the opportunity. So, I think we have to get out of the mindset, Terry, of thinking this is, 1994 and one guy's got to play every game in the playoffs because that's the way you do it. I think times are changing a little bit on some teams because not everybody has a Vasilevsky or a Hellebuck. And Toronto's found a lot of success using both guys in tandem this year. And I would expect both guys to see time. Though, if you made me pick who's going to start game one, 55-45 Anthony Stolarz gets game one.
Okay.
It would be interesting because I wonder if teams that do have a pretty even split, look at what happened to Boston that year when they set the record and then decided to go away from what got them the NHL record, right? Like they basically rotated their goalies every game for 4 months, and then the playoffs came and they stopped doing it. And you're just like, what? Like, why? That was part of your success. So I get, well, we won game one with this guy starting, so we have to stick with him. I'm like, but why? You won 62 games by splitting back and forth, and it worked. So, yeah, it would be fascinating to see. And I'm not saying you can't do it, but once a team does it once and even wins 2 rounds, Dave, you'll see other teams be like, oh, okay. But I don't know, like, because we've never seen anybody do it, right? It's going to be different. But there's always has to be a first. It's just going to be who's going to be first.
You're right. And see, the other thing, too, is neither guy in Toronto, Stolarz and Wall, has built up a track record nor a comfort level of playing 24 games in 46 days, right? They haven't done that. Their bodies are not used to doing that. They've had success because they've been able to play well, manage their body, come back in, play well, take time, manage body. They've looked fresh by and large. Now, Stolarz missed about 6, 7, more like 8 weeks, to be honest with you. But Wall missed time at the beginning, and both guys were capable of going on a bit of a run to carry a little bit more mail. But then there's also been a good sample size where both guys have been available, and they've gone back and forth, and it's worked really, really well. So the big thing is for me, if I'm a team and I'm considering my goaltending, do I have confidence in who is in my net right now? And if the answer is yes, then it shouldn't matter who you give the tap to if the system in which you've deployed your goalies has worked. It's not like if you go away from Stolarz, you're putting Wall in and you're like, I don't know, this guy never really seems to be all that reliable, all that dependable. No, he's been really, really good too. And they have as much confidence playing in front of either guy. They look like the same team in front of either guy. So if you feel that either guy gives you a chance to win, and the way you've had success is to deploy them in a tandem role, I agree with you, Gregor. Why would you abandon that just because now you're in the playoffs and one guy's got to stay? Well, that's not what you've done all year. That you haven't had success doing that. Why go away from what has brought you success?
Davey, great stuff, my man. Do you have any surprise teams or trades you're like, oh, I think this team's going to be really busy, or they're not going to be busy, or I think this guy's getting dealt? Any surprises between now and Friday for you?
I have a feeling Colorado's going to do something.
Like big?
Yeah, well, notable. I think they want to bring in another forward, and I wouldn't be surprised if they try to upgrade up the middle of the ice as well, because I still get the sense in people that I talk to in Colorado that they like their first line center. I still think there's some apprehensions, misgivings, if you will, about whether Casey Middlestat can be the guy that takes on the role at second line center. So if there's an upgrade there to be had, I could see Colorado maybe looking into it.
Davey, great stuff, my man. Have yourself an awesome day, and man, we will have lots to discuss next Tuesday and Sunday on the brunch.
Looking forward to it, buddy. Thanks, boys.
There you go. That's Dave McCarthy. Joins us every Tuesday here. Jason Gregor alongside Terry Ryan, Connor Halley. We'll return. Quick break. We got lots more hockey talk to get to. The Oilers, of course, the Trent Frederic trade. If you're just joining us, somehow you've been working, your boss is like, you can't check social media. You can't be on your phone. Well, Trent Frederic is now a member of the Edmonton Oilers. They also acquired Max Jones, who's reporting to Bakersfield, prospect Petter Hauser. In exchange, the Oilers gave up a second and a fourth. Prospect Max Winter, who's been playing in Bakersfield, although he's been injured since December. And the rights to Shane Lachance, who the Oilers drafted a few years ago in the 6th round, playing at NCAA in Boston. And I don't know if that's maybe a sign they thought they weren't going to be able to sign him, or that's just the part of doing business to get New Jersey to retain 25% of Frederic's salary. So Frederic comes in and will be a $575,000 cap hit for the remainder of the season. So not a big cap hit for him at all. Quick break. We'll return on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
It's the 2-day customer appreciation event at Vitality Health Foods. They're offering 25% off regularly priced products in stock, like Dr. Klein's Shilajit, featuring pure Himalayan Shilajit. Customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of each month. Visit Vitality Health Foods today.
Getting your vehicle sparkling clean doesn't have to cost a fortune. Take it into Hughes today and pay just loonies a wash.
Find us at hughescarwash.com.
Your courtside seat awaits on Sports 1440. I'm Paul Sir, and I host the basketball show every Saturday morning from 10 to noon on Edmonton's sports leader, Sports 1440. Don't miss it. I'll catch you this weekend.
Experience more at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Come for Canada's largest trade show, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience. But it doesn't end there. Maximize your brand exposure with Edmonton Expo Centre's new cutting-edge feature screens, spanning Western Canada's largest venue space. Captivate an annual audience of over 1 million visitors during iconic events like Pro Rodeo, Disney on Ice, Glow, K-Days, and so much more. To learn more, call 780-660-0514 or visit EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
Attention drivers, it's the midwinter tire clearance sale at Fountain Tire. Right now, you can save up to 20% off all in-stock winter tires. That's right, premium brands, unbeatable safety, and incredible savings. But don't wait, this sale ends March 8th. And once they're gone, they're gone. Contact your local Fountain Tire for complete details.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Dang. Last season, you bought new clubs to fix your game. You spent the entire season trying to learn how to hit with your magic clubs. And guess what? Dang. They didn't help your game. Now you're convinced it's your swing, but it really is your clubs. Even though you were told the ones you bought were the best ever made, if they were, you would have gotten better. Every day at Fitted Golf, we continue to prove the right clubs make all the difference in the world. From beginners to pros, Fitted Golf makes all the difference. Yes, fittedgolf.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Action Electrical. They're the most diversified electrical contractor in Alberta with 4 divisions in project, service take, and solar for commercial or residential. Contact them today at actionelectrical.net.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
3:47. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440. Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Of course, it's game day. Oilers taking on the Ducks. But, of course, lots of talk, of course, the Trent Frederic trade are the Edmonton Oilers. Only adding $575K in cap space today, so they still got room to wheel and deal if they so choose. Make some other trades. Trent Frederic, another left shot. Like, I can't see why, if you were Jeff Skinner, like, hey, I get you want to make the playoffs and everything, but you're not going to play in Edmonton. So you could stay on the roster, but I don't see how you're going to play. So as Rich Winter, who's an agent, said, well, you can have a no movement clause. If a team makes it clear you're not going to play there, why would you stay? Right? Like, in any relationship you're in, if the partner makes it abundantly clear that you're just not the one, do you stick around? Even if they're like, oh yeah, but they're very hot. They're a great kisser. Really? Do you? So I just, Skinner, what is this, his 7th scratch now since January 1st? It's not fitting for him. So I won't be surprised to see a move there, because I don't like, does Jeff Skinner want to be on a team and just sit in the press box for the whole time? I'm not sure that's beneficial to him at all. So we'll see how it goes. Hey, Gregor, is Ottawa going for it? Would Aiken O'Reilly get you Giroux? Well, Ottawa's not trading Claude Giroux. I could tell you that right now. And the Oilers wouldn't trade Aiken and O'Reilly for a pure rental. They don't need Claude Giroux past this year. And I'm not sure Claude Giroux is exactly like, they could use a 4th line right shot center. He's a little bit higher up in the lineup, but now you're gutting your whole future for a guy that I don't think fits long term. So, and Ottawa, they want to make the playoffs. Claude Giroux is so important to that team as a leader, one of their top 4 penalty killers. No chance Steve Staios is moving him at all. Guys, with all the talk about Skinner, what do they do with Arvidsson? Fair point. Fair point. But keep in mind, Skinner's contract's done at the end of this year, so it's easier to move in. Arvidsson, you bite the bullet and you hope that, maybe he finds his game. Maybe something clicks here. The last few games, at least, I've noticed a little bit more tenacity from him. Like, he's been getting in guys' face. Like, he's playing like a little bit of the grumpy garden gnome. Well, that's what he needs to be. Just haven't seen much of it at all. So I think because he has an extra year, it's a lot more challenging, right? You could convince him. Like I said, Ken Holland found a partner to take on Jesse Puljujärvi and his full $3 million for basically nothing. The Oilers just got a prospect, somebody on the 50-man roster to make it work for Carolina. That was it. I don't even know. What was his name? Pastieri? I can't even remember. He was never playing the NHL, right? It was like future considerations. But it just got a roster, one of the 50-man roster spots for Carolina. That was it. So I'm not even sure he was. Actually, no, he wasn't even signed. So, yeah, it was just we'll do this so it doesn't look like complete future considerations trade. Hey, guys, can you just release Skinner? No. And because he has a no movement clause, you can't put him on waivers and send him to the minors. So, and hey, I get why Jeff Skinner puts that in his contract when he signs a place for a year, just because of a situation like this. Like, the last thing he wants to do is end up in the minors. But, at this stage, I don't know. Am I wrong, Connor Halley? Like, do you see that, like, this relationship, everybody's had friends that date and you're like, oh yeah, but you know what? That's not going to last. This relationship, Skinner and the Oilers, I don't see it lasting.
Yeah. I mean, you think more than anything, like, he wants to play, right? And there's just no consistency. The traction hasn't been there. I don't know what it is between, he and Coach Knobloch, but obviously when someone has to come out of a lot of the lineup, Skinner is someone they look at there. So if I'm him, I mean, as much as I want to play in the playoffs, with this team, there's no guarantee he's even going to play.
No,
he could be in the press box for the playoffs. So what's the difference? Go somewhere where you can play. Maybe it's not a air quote cup contender, but go to a team where you can get that experience, play just a new fresh start and move on. I think that might be best for both sides at this point.
Yeah. What do you think as fans? Like, do you see it, how it's repairable? Do you think Jeff Skinner, now that they've added Frederic, so look at the left wing. You've got Podkolzin, you've got Frederic, you've got Nugent Hopkins, You've got Janmark. Right now, Skinner doesn't do what Janmark does, kills penalties. Now, Frederic can kill penalties, so, hey, Matthias Janmark might suddenly be a guy who's, potentially movable as well. Like, there's a lot of guys on this team that I can't say they're unmovable. Some contracts are harder to move than others. For sure. Like, Janmark's at least showing, like, Janmark's pretty good in the playoff. Like, that's the one thing they're probably holding on to. Strong, doesn't lose many puck battles, doesn't make many mistakes. Right, he's not doing anything offensively right now, so there is that. And, the penalty kill, it's been up and down like more than a toilet seat this year for the Oilers. Horrible, then good for a stretch, then horrible again. And now it looks like maybe they're going on a good stretch. We'll see what happens. But I don't know. I can't be the only one here that thinks Skinner and the Oilers it's not working. Right? You guys, you can't buy out Skinner. Just pay the penalty. No, you can't buy out a player. There's only a certain buyout window period in the offseason. Now, you can have a mutual release, but I don't see why Jeff Skinner would do that at this point. Right? Because if he says, okay, you know what? They go on waivers for his outright release, then he becomes a free agent. Now, keep in mind, he would have to do that literally tomorrow, because then he would have to clear waivers Thursday, because then he would have to sign with a new team Friday. Because if he signed with any team after the trade deadline, can't play in the playoffs. So, no, I don't. In theory, yes, it is plausible. You could do it, right? We've seen, who is the guy who just had multi-years left in his deal and walked away? Went back so you could do it, but I'd be surprised. If Skinner would want to do it.
Brandon Saad?
Brandon Saad, yeah. All right, he did it. So you could do it, but, Brandon Saad, like, the difference is, now maybe a team would say, hey, we'll sign Skinner for $1 million and don't have to give up anything. Like, it is a possibility. So never rule out anything. But if it does happen, it would have to happen tomorrow, right? Just for a timeline. Because he's got to clear waivers first. Then be a free agent and you could sign before Friday. So, hey guys, Skinner scores 9 goals down the stretch for a playoff team and just pay the penalty till the end of the year. I don't see that. Based on what? Like, what? Here's my question. Matt Savoy sat out the last 3 games. Did Jeff Skinner do anything? Like, did you notice him at any point in those games saying, wow, I really like that play? Honestly, can you think of one time in the last 3 games? And then what about the games before that when Savoy played? Well, I can think of one play for sure when he assisted on the goal. Right? And then he had a few other plays. So to me, there's the difference. Like, that was, I think, the last hurrah for Jeff Skinner. Now, I'm not getting that from anybody. I haven't heard no one in the organization's telling me that. And to be honest, I haven't asked. I just, the Frederic trade comes down. It's another left winger. You don't see Skinner in the lineup tonight. I don't see it. Yeah, I don't see it at all. So it's unfortunate, but it's just how it goes. 355. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440 in our E-Well inbox. We got loads and loads of texts. Hey, guys, could they just put Arvidsson and Skinner on waivers? No, they have no movement clause means no waivers. If you have a no trade clause like Evander Kane, you could put him on waivers. And then if he clears, he would go to the minors and you'd gain about $1.15 million in cap space. But I don't see the Oilers doing that, to be honest. Like, if Evander Kane came in your line, and there's the other thing. Like, so Skinner, I just named all the left wingers. What if Kane's still on the roster? Well, there's another left winger that I'm probably putting ahead of Jeff Skinner come playoff time. So he's got to see the writing on the wall, right? Hey, Gregor, can we talk about how big a POS Kane is being? Well, I guess look at it 2 ways, Mark. If Evander Kane is healthy enough to play on March 25th, for argument's sake, that's 3.5 weeks before the end of the regular season. So if he's ready to play then, why would he sit out that long? Now, if it's a week, totally different. But if it's 3 weeks and he's like, hey, man, I want to get up to game shape. I want to play. You're closing in on, over 3.5 weeks. Is he really being a jerk? Or he's like, hey, man, I rehabbed, I did everything, and now I'm ready to play. It's not his fault that, some of the other signings they made didn't work out. So now I've said this, though. If Kane isn't playing until April, well, now that's a different story. Because now I'm talking a week, because you could use the clause that's legal, fully legal, that you can go on LTIR conditioning stint, and you could do that on April 9th. Send them down. They have 3 games. By the time those 3 games in the AHL are played, the Oilers' regular season is over. Then you could recall Kane for the playoffs. No harm, no foul. And actually, no rule broken. Other teams might complain, but like I said to Oilers fans when they hated me when I said, hey, Mark Stone was legitimately hurt. Now, was he healthy enough to play a week before the playoffs? Maybe. Probably. But they held him out a week. I don't think he was held out for a month, right? Like, I think there's a difference. Let's get to the con man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. Get where you need to go this winter in the midwinter tire clearance sale at Fountain Tire. Save up to 20% off all in-stock winter tires right now at the end of the year. This is the best time to buy, man. You get great deals, premium bands, unbeatable safety, and incredible savings. FountainTire.com.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
The Edmonton Oilers making a move today, acquiring forward Trent Frederic and Max Jones from the Boston Bruins. The Oilers and defenseman Max Wayner, a 2025 second-round pick and a 2026 fourth-round pick to Boston. The New Jersey Devils were also involved, receiving Shane LaChance from Edmonton for facilitating the deal, retaining 50% of Frederic's salary. The Oilers also received unsigned draft choice Peter Howard in the deal. He's the Devils' 5th-round pick back in 2022. The Oilers on the ice tonight taking on the Anaheim Ducks. Puck drops just after 7 o'clock down at Rogers Place. Our pregame coverage with myself and Donovan Paulson gets going at 6 right here on Sports 1440. Elsewhere around the NHL, you got the Preds in Boston. Sabres host the Sharks. Hurricanes up against the Red Wings. Lightning host the Jackets. Flames in Philadelphia. Islanders taking on the Jets. Stars and Devils. Penguins beat the Avalanche. And the Wild hit the Seattle to take on the Kraken in the association. Toronto back in action tonight in Orlando, taking on the Magic. That'll get going at 5 o'clock. You also have the Rockets in Indiana. Hawks hosting the Bucks. Warriors take on the Knicks. Sixers and Timberwolves. Clippers in the desert taking on the Suns. And the Lakers hosting the Pelicans. And the AJ Whitecourt heads to Bonneville. That gets going at 7 o'clock. You got one game in the PWHL with Montreal hosting Minnesota at 5. And from the NFL, Saquon Barkley's record-breaking season has been rewarded by the Philadelphia Eagles. He's signing a 2-year extension worth $41.2 million. That makes him the highest paid running back in NFL history. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll ask 5 questions and be joined by former NHLer Jason Strudwick. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Play Alberta has hundreds of casino games right at your fingertip. Join thousands discovering why Fortune Coin is one of Alberta's most popular games. Fill your reels with golden coins, multiply your prizes up to 6 times, and turn good spins into legendary ones. Land the Fortune Coin symbol to win cash, trigger the jackpot, launch the free spins bonus, and watch as the dragon takes over your screen. New players get 100 free spins only on playalberta.ca. Claim your offer today.
A premier hockey solution with a clear path for long-term development is proud to be entering its 8th season of independent borderless hockey, featuring provincial and cross-province competition with showcase-style regular season gameplay and a strong commitment to individual skill development. It's an attractive option for those seeking family life balance. The Hockey Super League offers opportunities for both male and female athletes born between 2012 and 2017. Visit hockeysuperleague.com for more information.
It's the 2-day customer appreciation event at Vitality Health Foods. They're offering 25% off regularly priced products in stock, like Dr. Klein's Shilajit, featuring pure Himalayan Shilajit. Customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of each month. Visit Vitality Health Foods today.
Introducing the new McSpicy from McDonald's. It looks like a regular chicken sandwich, but it's actually a spicy chicken sandwich. McSpicy. Consider yourself warned. Limited time only. Participate in McDonald's in Canada.
At Schwab Buick GMC, our boss is serious about cutting prices on vehicles like Sierras and Silverados. When?
Right Schwabbing now! Right Schwabbing now!
So when he sees the MSRP, he says,
that's not Schwabbing good enough!
He's always looking for more.
Dig the Schwab in!
Save with 0% financing or lease rates as low as 1.9% on 2024 half-ton trucks.
Right now!
At Schwab Chevrolet Buick GMC in Leduc. Right Schwabbing now.
Join us for the Canadian premiere of Yuki, the untold story of hockey legends on March 10th at Fort Hall, Rogers Place, Edmonton. Hosted by Kelly Rudy, this event features a gripping documentary celebrating over 50 NHL champions of Ukrainian-Canadian descent. Enjoy a Ukrainian-style meal and a Q&A session with Kelly and the director, Vladimir Mula. Tickets are limited, $50 for rush seating and $150 for VIP. Secure your spot now at ukrfolk.ca and be a part of this unforgettable evening.
Farm, ranch, acreage, or lake lot. They're here to help at Bashaw Concrete Products. Family owned and operated for 60 years. They continue to provide the best products and service, period. Call now for your free quote on the highest quality ready mix and gravel, a new septic tank, or an outhouse pad and tank, plus precast cattle water pads, garage sumps, and more. Call 780-372-3854 for prompt delivery. Bashaw Concrete Products, 780-372-3854. BashawConcrete.com.
Introducing the new McSpicy from McDonald's. It looks like a regular chicken sandwich, but it's actually a spicy chicken sandwich. McSpicy. Consider yourself warned. Limited time only. Participate in McDonald's in Canada.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. It's Terrific Tuesday. Get 40% off any regular price pizza when you use the code word 40Tuesday at the start of each pizza order at papajohns.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Rolling through all of those who are in on our draw are in. So we'll do the draw coming out of the next break. So Ed and Jay and Scott, we have Sean SK, Donovan, Robert, Gary, Sean S, Bruce, and Sean R. You're wondering. So there you go. All right. So we got all those guys in, and we are ready to rock and roll. And one of you is going to win a sweet deal tonight. Pair of seats in the Chairman's Club. That includes a parking pass. And if you don't know where the seats in the rink are great. Row 13, section 101, phenomenal seats. But it's all the other stuff you get. You can sit in there. You're having dinner, includes dinner. So that's why I want to do the draw, so you can get there early, right? You go underneath, you have dinner. You can watch the players walk right out of the room. It's kind of like you're turning back the clock, like you're at the old Rexall. Remember when you'd stand by the bar and people would line up and you'd watch the players walk out? Well, there is a glass now, so it's not, if people are yelling. I remember, we might have to ask Struddy, like, what was the best thing you had yelled to him during those games? There was a few times, especially on Saturday nights after losses, after games. There was a few rather boisterous, intoxicated fans who would say some things that they probably wouldn't have said to the player, if he wasn't walking around. Because at that point, the player can't do anything. Let's be honest. You're kind of in a no-win situation if you respond at that point. So we'll see. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Terry Ryan with you. Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. And TR, I want to get your thoughts on just, to me, and the Jeff Skinner situation. So the last 3 games, Matt Savoy was healthy scratch. Skinner played. Honestly, not sure I'd notice him really do anything spectacular or anything really noticeable at all. Now they acquire another left winger in Trent Frederic. They potentially have Evander Kane coming back. Like, you got to read the writing on the wall here. You're Jeff Skinner. You've been healthy scratched 7 times, TR. Like, if you're the Edmonton Oilers and you can try to move him, that frees up $3 million. They could make another move. Like, I got to think there's a good chance it happens. Like, if you're Jeff Skinner, I get that you want to play on a playoff team, but you're not playing now. And their roster, like, they don't even have Trent Frederic here yet. They don't have Evander Kane here. You think you're going to play when they get here?
No, that's the thing. So what we were talking about earlier, even going back to that, I mean, everything now that makes that move questionable was equally as questionable in August or September, whenever, I guess August was it, whenever they made the move. So all I can think is that they thought maybe they'd hit lightning in a bottle there, and then he'd go from, whatever it was, high 20s to like 40 odd. Maybe they were hoping for something so spectacularly unexpected to me or you or any of the other fans. I mean, that's all I can think is it was going for such a home run. And who knows? Klingberg might have been one of those moves. I mean, teams do it. But right now, what you've done, you put yourself in a kind of an awkward position because he's doing now exactly what he did at the beginning of the year. He's what we all thought would happen. And I do think there's an opportunity out there for him. But this is a bad time to try to trade an asset that you haven't really put everything into giving that opportunity. And when he has been out there, it's been rather stale. So, I can understand the guy can score. I can understand that seems to have a decent attitude. I don't really know, just reading the media. But if that's the case, it's going to be tough at that price to trade him. And the Oilers, by extension, of course, we might talk about what they need. Some say forward, some say, well, they just got Frederic. Now you might look at D, whatever you're going to do, there's not a whole lot of teams out there that might be willing, because for the way I see it, a lot of teams don't even really know themselves yet. It seems to be really cluttered. So are you really going to get one of those players, or are the teams going to hang on to them? Like the players that are talked about out there, like say Braden Shen on the market. But I mean, if St. Louis aren't completely out, and I don't know. You're trading a guy like that, which is usually the desirable attraction to other teams. But he's the community. He's the face of the team. And you can pretty much connect the dots with a lot of the players that are out there on the market. So the Oilers, I don't think, you might think they got a lot of moves to make, but it's going to be tough to make them. And it's especially tough when you have an asset like that hasn't really done what you might have expected.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And hey, what about Arvidsson? I focus on one thing at one time. Arvidsson's a whole different conversation. First of all, he has another year left on his deal. It's a way harder deal to make if you're just going to convince a team to take him, and move it out so you can free up the cap space. Arvidsson, no one's taking Arvidsson at the way he's playing right now because he got an extra year on the deal, right? That's the other factor that's involved here. And even the thing about Arvidsson is, I know that Jeff Skinner has more goals. I understand all that, but I think they look at Arvidsson, competitiveness, speed, everything else, probably a better chance when you look at it. Who do you think could rebound? Like, is Jeff Skinner getting faster? No. Right? Is he suddenly going to move the puck way quicker? I don't think so. Right? He's not physical, right? Not that Arvidsson's physical either. So I don't see it. Plus, you just added a left winger in Frederic, and you got another left winger in Kane. They didn't just add two right wingers. So to me, I'm looking at the whole picture. Hey, I'm not excusing Arvidsson's play because I think it's being junk. Like, the thing I'm most frustrated is, now maybe I was wrong. I don't know if anybody out there, like when he played in LA, I don't recall him falling every second shift. But right now, man, like, it's unbelievable. It's unreal to me why he's on his keister as often as he is. And it's not from hitting. That's the thing. Like, he's got 24 hits or whatever it is. So it's not like he's bumping into guys and falling all over. It's just like, since Scott Hartnell, I don't know if I've ever seen a guy fall down like this, man.
Jason, you said that a couple of months ago, and I hadn't really, I noticed it like anything else, the odd time it happened. And I had a look. You're right. I don't know. Like, I've really noticed it. It happens a lot. And yes, I could see if it's some spin top that's out there just murdering everything in its wake, right? Like, I could see that if it was some kind of hits leader for the league that ends up, but it's not.
No.
And I can't figure it out because, you get, it's an absolute conundrum. You get to the NHL and you should at the very least have some balance. And again, if you're a fighter or you're a hitter, it's a little bit different. Now, when you're going back though, I think maybe if it comes to Arvidsson and Skinner, the other side of it is who would be built better, I guess, for playoff hockey as well. And maybe they're making that kind of decision right now in front of our eyes. But anyway, yeah, I know. Neither's been great. I don't know. Arvidsson seems to spend a lot of time there. I don't know if it's a reaction. I don't know if it goes back to minor hockey, but it doesn't make any sense as far as analytics go. The amount of times that he's on his ass at all over the ice. It's not in front of the net just blocking shots or in front of the net trying to get ground or blocking shots. It's just everywhere. The guy is mopping the ice a lot of the time, and your answer is as good as mine.
Yeah. So Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan with you, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Guys, maybe we should do a RV Down shirt and set Hartnell. Well, Hartnell was a real big character, and he really got into it, had a lot of fun with it. And I don't know, because Hartnell, like when Hartnell fell, he was hitting, like he was engaged in things. Arvidsson,
helmet was off.
Yes.
The yard sale.
Yes, exactly. It's totally different. Like Arvidsson will go in on a forecheck and just blow a wheel. And you're just like, what is happening? It's so, like, honestly, I don't get it. Like, I don't know if maybe he just has the wrong skates, right? And they have something's off. I just don't recall him falling this often. Now, maybe I didn't watch him close enough when he was playing in LA. Maybe that's possible. But I've asked a lot of people. I've asked a few people in LA who watch him, and they're like, I'm like, hey, when Arvidsson was there, did he fall down lots? And they're like, what are you talking about? No. And I'm like, wow, dude, he can't stay on his feet right now. So I don't know. It's weird. So people in LA that I've asked said they didn't notice it. So obviously it couldn't be a thing because I'm not the only one who noticed it. Like I've had a lot of people ever since I mentioned, they're like, oh yeah, it happens all like it does. Like it's weird. So, and even,
and by the way, sorry to cut you off, but in LA, didn't he look a little bit different, or were we not looking close enough?
Well, he was more tenacious than he's been in Edmonton. But part of me, like I would say this, and I wrote the article yesterday at Oilers Nation, and I think it's on the players, but I think the coach has to make certain things a priority when you're the coach. You set a certain standard, and I think that knob block at times is a lot of guys. We don't have to finish our checks as much because all the numbers are down across the board. It's a 40% drop from the Oilers from the last 3 years, not 1 year, 3 years in a row, where they were basically the same team, hits per 60. They don't have to be Florida or teams that, hit a lot, but they were 15th or 16th, middle of the pack. It's great. They're 32nd, and it's not even close. And so I think it's Arvidsson seemed to be more engaged. Now, the last two games, I've noticed him like getting in guys' faces, and I didn't like the one penalty, obviously, that cost him a power play goal, but I've noticed him in scrums a little bit more because that's what you remember. Like Arvidsson was. He would get inside guys and would kind of get in their grill, and he wasn't even really doing that early in the season. So maybe it's a lack of comfort in a new thing, a new city. Some guys go through that, Terry. I'm sure you played with guys that it just, for whatever reason, it takes a while to get comfortable, some more than others, and that's it. But the thing about because we have a lot of, Gregor, Arvidsson, or Skinner, there's differences. Arvidsson's a right winger, Skinner's a left winger. Trent Frederic's a left winger, Evander Kane's a left winger. Pod Colson's a left winger, Nugent Hopkins is a left winger. Like, they got way more left wingers. So you look at the right side, and hey, now Arvidsson, Matt Savoy's playing with Draisaitl tonight. Arvidsson, so he's got to wake up too. But I look at Arvidsson's speed, I look at his tenacity, and I think there's a chance that he could help you more. And Jeff Skinner, I don't think Jeff Skinner is going to give you more than four other left wingers that they currently have.
Yeah, that's a good point. And again, to go back to it, being wasted there anyway, because I don't think Skinner's as bad as we're seeing. I think it's a terrible fit on both sides. And, get them out. There's probably a team that really could use them. It wouldn't be the first time. And I don't mean a team like Buffalo or Chicago or San Jose. I mean, maybe there's a fit somewhere, that a team that's going for it, he fits a little bit better. We know he's offensively gifted, but it hasn't really worked. And that's also why, I don't know where Brad Marchand's going to go, but the thing that I really like about him is that he knows how to play with like really, really good players. That's a thing. Not everybody can come in and just play with McDavid or McKinnon or whoever the hell you're going to talk, Draisaitl. But certain guys can, and to me that would be a real attractive thing going into the deadline. If I was a team like the Oilers, say, or the Maple Leafs, or the Avalanche that had a big-time star, like you got to know that certain people can play with them, right, and certain can't.
Yeah, so we'll see. Looking at the we got a few other texts coming in, 833-401-1440. So Gregor, realistically, when Skinner has a no move, how do you get him to waive it? Well, I think you just have to have an honest, open conversation with him. We just acquired another left winger. Jeff, we just don't see where you're going to fit in here. So if you want to stay here, great, but you might not play down the stretch. And you don't say it threatening. I think you just be honest.
Yeah.
Right. Like, he's not in the lineup tonight, and Trent Frederic's not here, and he's not in the lineup. So what happens when Frederic's here? Well, now he gets pushed down even more, right? So there's he doesn't penalty kill. The second power play doesn't play enough where you're like, well, geez, we really need Jeff Skinner on our second power play unit. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't play enough to have one guy we need those 30 seconds. So I think you have that conversation with him. And I'm sure him and his agent, like Rich Winter's the one who brought it up. He's an agent. He's been an agent for 30 years. right? He's had lots of guys who've had no movement clause. If a team it's pretty obvious they don't want you, you don't, as an agent, I'll be like, they don't want you. Like, we got to get out of it. Right. It's like, TR, it's, I'm sure you've had a buddy in your life. Oh man, I really like Sally. Oh, and you know that Sally's out there, right? And Sally's not very nice, doesn't treat him very nice, or, maybe she's wheeling around town, or vice versa for ladies. Their girlfriend's dating a guy who's a dud or a dork or a dick. And finally have to say, you know what? Like, you got to get out of this. Like, it ain't working. So that's kind of what the agent would have to do, I think, to Skinner. Because this isn't just, it's not going to be a fit down the stretch. Not going to play.
Yeah, and if anybody's wondering, I've known. Look, I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth. I'm not going to say who, but trust me. I've known lots of people in this position, and we're only too happy to waive all that. You get that going in. You want some security. You don't know what you're going to think of the place. Maybe you love it. Maybe it's a fit, and it comes down to it, and you want to get traded, and it's a much better situation. But if you're in a situation like this, or lots of players go through. Lots of great players go through it. But it's just a little bit of insurance at the beginning. But I'm sure most guys going through that, you don't want to be scrutinized every day in the paper, man. You don't want to go with no confidence and show up and do everything you can do, but it's not really going to matter when decisions have already been made on you. I don't want to be around in that situation, and would love, no matter what team, it's the NHL, traded somewhere and, get a chance to be positive impact, turn everything around. That minute you're traded, that second, it's new life, no matter what it is, no matter what they thought of you, now you've got a new chance to start again. And I love new chances, man, and no matter whatever part of life you're in. So most of those people, trust me, put yourself in the situation of just being stale and every day going into the same thing when no one has confidence in you. You waive those things pretty quick.
Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, Jason Struddy. Maybe we'll go down memory lane with Struddy. Some of the fun chirps you heard. We were talking because at the Chairman's Club now you can see the players walk out, but there's a glass partition. If you yell at them, they don't hear you. But that wasn't the case at at Rexall. Now, I saw a lot of when the games would win, fans are going crazy. It was nice, but I'm sure, especially in the decade of darkness, man, there were some dark times down in the bowels of Rexall Place. We'll return on the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Remember, use the promo code Gregor50 and you'll get a free $50 play at PlayAlberta.ca.
In 1973, deep in the basement of an Edmonton family home, an elite team of specialized forces came together to form Action Electrical.
Action Electrical Divisions, assemble.
Projects team reporting.
Service team reporting.
Testing team reporting.
Energy team reporting.
Supercharged with skills in their electrical fields and grounded by strong family values. Facing an electrical menace? Call on the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
At Papa John's, we're not just in the business of making better pizza. We're in the business of making everything better. Ambitious? Perhaps. Delicious? You better believe it. Monday? Make it a pizza party. Sick of parenting? Get Papa John's on dinner duty. Date night? We've got the recipe for romance. With our never frozen dough and always fresh toppings, Papa John's is committed to making it all better. Get better today at papajohns.ca or visit any of our 50-plus locations across Alberta. Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza.
It's the season for love, and you're about to fall hard for the vehicle of your dreams. Presenting the outstanding 2025 XC90 from Volvo Cars Edmonton. Right now, you can lease your 2025 XC90 plug-in hybrid from 1.49% and save $4,600. Or finance a 2025 XC60 from 1.49% and save $1,500. All while being deeply infatuated by the newly upgraded, highly attractive body and wheel design. Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. 1205 101 Street Southwest.
Are you tired of waking up tired? Are you tossing and turning all night and stiff and sore the next morning? If your sleep is suffering, it's time to visit the Brick Mattress Store. Their sleep experts will help you find the right support for restful night's sleep. Back sleeper, side sleeper, hot or cold, there is a perfect mattress for you. Plus, with next day delivery, your best night's sleep could be tomorrow. Check out the Brick Mattress Store locations in Spruce Grove, South Edmonton, St. Albert, Leduc, and start waking up refreshed.
Legacy Heating and Cooling offers no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. So, when you wake up to no heat, call Legacy, call Legacy. If you need it immediately with no overtime rates. If if you need it immediately and want to combo it with AC.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
No payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. It could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
It's the 2-day customer appreciation event at Vitality Health Foods. They're offering 25% off regularly priced products in stock, like Dr. Klein's Shilajit, featuring pure Himalayan Shilajit. Customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of each month. Visit Vitality Health Foods today.
Play Alberta has hundreds of casino games right at your fingertips. Join thousands discovering why Fortune Coin is one of Alberta's most popular games. Fill your reels with golden coins, multiply your prizes up to 6 times, and turn good spins into legendary ones. Land the Fortune Coin symbol to win cash, trigger the jackpot, launch the free spins bonus, and watch as the dragon takes over your screen. New players get 100 free spins only on playalberta.ca. Claim your offer today.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Did you know that Japa offers in-house and on-site heavy equipment service? Rain or shine, Japa's service department is here for you. Visit japamachinery.com for all the details.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by playalberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We continue on. Game day, trade day for Oiler fans. Trent Frederic is now a member of the Edmonton Oilers. Max Jones also comes over in the deal. He will start in Bakersfield. I don't know if you'd see him in the lineup, to be honest, probably unless there's an injury, I would think, but as more of a depth guy in case. So there's another left guy, right? Depth guy. So, yeah, we'll see. Now, before we get to Struddy, we got our, wow, this is we're classing it up now for those watching on online. This is a really high, nice, and you'll see all the names at the bottom there. All right, so here we go. Good luck, and the first name out, you are the winner. And who do we have? Oh, look at this. That is, can you see it, Cons? Oh, yeah, there we go. Gary, Gary. Why? Because you're Gary. Gary, congratulations. You're going to the Chairman's Club tonight, my man, to the game. Thanks for everybody else, the Shawns and Ed and Donovan. I don't want to miss anybody. I have to go through the whole bucket. Scott and Bruce, everybody else, thanks for helping out the Hope Mission today. And Gary, you are the big winner. So check your email, your text, and we will get you all the passes to the Chairman's Club tonight. Be respectful in there. Enjoy it. It's pretty awesome. Not many people get to go in that club, man. Pretty damn expensive, let's be honest. Now, let's get to Struds On, brought to you by, geez, where's my paper? Forget all the time. Brought to you by Silent Ice, because it's championship season. The JPHL players are chasing the Prospects Cup. You got 105 teams in HSL going for the title, as well as the Female Super League. Go to silentice.com to watch all the games.
The Jason Gregor Show presents Struds On.
I don't believe in tea bags. I use loose leaf tea, and it is so much better than the tea bags. I'll eat tea bags. I'll
Struds On.
I'm not a huge DJ guy. I mean, I guess if you had me a couple glow sticks and a tight white t-shirt that I can get wet, maybe I'd be into it.
Struds On.
There's a lone steakhouse I used to go to down in Kentucky, and they had bowls of peanuts. I wasn't sucking on those ones. You know, I mean, you need to have clean nut. I'm talking about the kind you get in a bag at an Elks game. You know what I mean?
It's time for Struds On.
We continue on. Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan, Struddy, how are you doing?
Or no?
I don't know. I can't answer. You asked, are you excited as Oiler fans? I don't know. How excited are you?
I'm excited about this because he's a player that I've watched for a while, you know, from a distance, obviously. But I think Oilers fans should be really excited. I think he brings an element that the Oilers need. And, you know, the unknown of Kane, I think makes this a really good ad because he's the kind of guy like Kane that can bring you into the fight. And doesn't mean you have to physically fight, but kind of get your juices flowing because you see what he's doing. So I I think this is a nice pickup for the Oilers for sure.
Well, yeah, I think they need, honestly, I think they need Frederic and Kane in the lineup in an ideal world.
Yeah.
Now, if they're able to move Kane for something valuable, okay, sure. But I think it's probably low chance. But if all of a sudden you have Frederic on a line and you have Kane on a line, you've got some tenacity, right? You've got enough skill. We know the Oilers have skill at other guys, right? But now you bring in some physical play. And guys, Kane goes up and down the wing. We saw he can score. Trent Frederic's got decent hands. He also kills penalties. He can play center, so he has like the center iceman's thought process strategy that I think will be pretty good to help out defensively. Yeah, there's lots I like about this trade. Now, if he's only a rental, I don't like it as much, but I still like it. But if they end up re-signing him, then I think it becomes a massive. It's like, to me, I think it's a really good deal. Then it becomes a great deal if they're able to re-sign him.
Oh, 100%. And again, you're right. If Kane comes back, now they have two guys. They can really do this. They can be on different lines, or you can make a line that's all about it or whatever. And that's kind of TBD. But if Kane's unable to play, now at least I have one guy, then maybe next year, maybe this is what it looks like when he comes in. Maybe he becomes the guy. So I look at it, I think Oilers fans have to think a little bit like Brett Kulak. When Brett Kulak was traded for, and the way he played, the way he's played for the Oilers as a kind of a pickup and then signing has gone, it could not have gone better. It could not have gone better for the Oilers, and I think Kulak as well, Greg.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, Kulak, he's been unbelievable for the Edmonton Oilers. No question about that. You look at the Oilers tonight, so I want to get your thoughts. TR and I were hammering around, so I'll ask your thoughts. Like, you're Jeff Skinner. And, you sign here for a 1-year deal. You're like, hey, it's going to work out. It hasn't worked out. I think we can all agree it hasn't worked out to the level of the team or the player wanted. Now they just added another left winger in Frederic. They might have another left winger coming back in Evander Kane. He's not in the lineup tonight, and neither one of those two guys are here. Like, if you're Jeff Skinner and the Oilers come to you and say, hey, maybe, you know what, it's just not working out. Let's try to move you before the deadline. Don't you say yes?
Well, I've been saying it for a while. I thought that this would end in not a bitter divorce, but just, a split, because he wants to play. He's at the point in his career, he doesn't have 10 years to go, right? He wants to play. I get he wants to play on the playoffs. Everyone wants to play in the playoffs, but you want to play. And that's the biggest thing. I know towards the end of my career, I wanted to play. So I do think it could happen. Now, he might look and say, well, I've got a really good thing going here. As far as maybe he thinks the team is really strong and he has a chance of winning. But I know when I played, if I was the 7th D and the team won the Stanley Cup, yeah, it's exciting, but you don't really feel like you did it. I know your team did it, and you don't want to be that guy, but let's be honest, you're not really doing it, TR. You're just cheering the guys on and skating every other day.
No, I completely agree with you, and I think there's a way, like you just said, there could be a mutual split that makes sense for both sides because of a lot of, Skinner, I think, has more to prove elsewhere, and I don't think he's a bad potato or anything. I just don't think it worked. And it was, great for the team to try for it. Like you said, he's still got some fire in the tank. Definitely has more skill left on the table here. So I think it would be, I think there are many options for it to be an amicable split.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So he has to figure, this all has to happen rather quickly because they got to get this done, in 4 days or whatever it is, 3 days. So there has to be some talks going on. They can talk to him, sort it out, figure out where he'd like to go, and then move on. I mean, is it at $3 million? Maybe you have to cut that down a little bit, but it gives you a little bit of cap space and him an opportunity to go somewhere else because it's just, I don't know how many times I thought this was the chance for him to play up. This is the chance for him to show it. He's still got 11 goals. It's not like he's got none. So I would think, I look at Gustav Nyquist. Just got traded. Now they retained half it and he got traded for a second rounder. Is there not a team that would take a chance on, or not a chance, but take this player on, guys, when you see Gustav Nyquist and the trade he got?
Well, Nyquist had 75 points last year and he's a much better skater. Like, I think the challenge with Skinner's study is his foot speed. It's so apparent that now not everybody has to be a burner, right? But he's not physical, right? So to me, if I look at guys, okay, Luke, Matthew Tkachuk, not a great skater, really, when you look at speed, you look at everything else. But you know what? He's tough in hard areas, plays in the small areas game great. You don't see Skinner in front of the net battling, right? You don't see him on the forecheck hitting anybody. So what does he really bring? That's the more you watch a guy, that's when I see him be like, geez, I'm not sure. Yeah, okay, he's got 11 goals. And I looked at the time of the goals. You score the 7th goal later in a game. And when you do that consistently, like how many first goals of the game does he have, right? How many game-winning goals does he have? Like certain goals matter a little bit more. But even then, I'm just like, the last 3 games, Matt Savoy was out. Did you notice Jeff Skinner in any of those 3 games?
Yeah, and I think that's the challenge, and will be the challenge for him, is that he needs to, especially he likes to create his own opportunities. So I think he's a bit more of a solo artist than others, and I think that's what makes it unlikely for him to find the chemistry with 97 or 29. Those guys want the puck on their stick, and that's. I get it. Like you're used to doing it a certain way, but with these guys, they do it a different way, and they're much better players than pretty much everyone in the league. So they get the puck, and you have to figure out how to work off of them.
There is somewhere he gets. I still say there's somewhere he gets 30 though, and he's good value. It's just not in Edmonton.
Yeah, maybe you could be right. And like you don't think that it all just fall, but hey, we've seen guys, man, they get into their mid 30s, and all of a sudden, Struddy, like. Some guys fall off a cliff faster than others.
But he's got 11 on no. Sorry.
Yeah,
I jumped in there already. But
no, go ahead. Like I know that he scored some goals. I get all that, right? Like he's on pace for whatever that puts him on for 18 or 19. And I don't know. It's like the last few. Like he has 10 goals, 5-on-5. I would like to look at his rates. Like how is his goals per 60 really that much higher this year? Like his goals per 60 TR. So I'll look at it this year for the Oilers. His goals per 60 for Edmonton in his career are like 11th highest. He's only had 4 years lower than this because he's got 1 goal per 60. So he's really not, even by his standards, he's not scoring at the rate that he has in the past, even regardless of the minutes he's played.
I hear you. I think first of all, I don't love all of his game. I don't know if I would be drafting him if I was a GM, or I'd even be trading for him. But I'm just thinking for that money, and you could get him now for, and while his market value is at its lowest, and, with the cap going up, I don't know. I think he could go somewhere for 2 or 3 years, sign a pretty good contract for the team, given all of those things. And I don't know. I think he could help somebody. Just in what you said, I don't think he's a great fit there, but I think he could still get 30, and that's worth something. It's a lot of holes in his game, but it's worth $3 million or less.
Yeah. Struddy, what about the defense? So they went out and got Frederic. Is John Klingberg your answer, or are you looking to upgrade the second pair right defense?
I love John Klingberg with the puck on his stick, but his game hasn't rounded into form without it. And I believe the last game, what I call water skiing. So when you're like, let's say Terry Ryan has the puck and he's kind of doing tight turns in the corner, instead of stopping and starting, I just follow him with tight turns. And you need to stop, because when you just keep tight turning behind him, you're never going to make up that space. You'll never close that gap. And I think his defensive posture isn't where it needs to be a top 4 defensive. Now, if he wants to, if you want to use him as the third pairing right shot D, no problem. But I believe they got to find someone else. And Kulak's game, he might be the guy that by default, and he's played well, would play beside Nurse. And now you're finding someone for that third pairing that's most likely a left shot defenseman. So maybe there's a guy rolling to town tonight. Like, does Dumoulin interest you? Olimata's off the books now. Signed a nice extension with Utah. Give the guy credit. That's pretty incredible. He got picked up to kind of stopgap, and he signed a 3-year extension there. That's how much they like him. But that might be their way to go, because, they don't have that many assets to kick out the door to get maybe the stud right shot that is the price is going to cost.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is, like, let's be real here. In the trade, if you acquire a guy, like, you could just move out Klingberg. That's 1.75 cap space that goes out, right? Like you could do that if they wanted to. Let's go to the game tonight, because there is a game for the Edmonton Oilers. They're taking on the Ducks, and they got to try to build off something. Struddy, they've lost 3 in a row at home, but they'd actually won 16 of 19 prior to that at home. They've been a pretty good home team for the most part, but they need a win tonight. It's against a team they've had a lot of success against, but it's a young team who's 8-3-1 in their last 12. They got nothing to lose, and some of the young guys are playing pretty good. What do you make of tonight's game, Struddy, and how concerning is it? You come home after a long road trip, you played some really good teams, and now you're playing the Ducks. Is this a trap game for you?
It can be, but honestly, I think the Ducks are hopefully trending in the right direction. They've got so many young players there and some pretty nice young D. If you want to watch like Lacombe, I think he's playing tonight. He is a really, really good player. But I think this is all about the Oilers and the way they want to play. We saw it we'll just start after the break, Griggs. The first 4 games of the road trip, defensively weren't great. Just they looked very casual and disinterested. We finally started to see the team we've seen for most of this year in the 5th game, and they're able to get to win. Now, it wasn't perfect. I don't think either team played a perfect game. Pickard might have been as good as the perfect as you can be in that win. But now they've got to come out and they have to find a way to manufacture energy. And I saw your article on the hits, Griggs. I thought it was great in Oilers Nation. It was really well done. And I think now's the time, and I've said it, I think I said it to you guys, that I think the Oilers have had the governor on the hitting machine for their team. I think now's the time to start looking for opportunities to hit. And that's right from 1 to 20. I'm looking at, everyone on the team, Nuge, McDavid, Nurse, Ekholm, everyone's got to start getting more hits and start getting back into that playoff mode that we've seen them do before.
Yeah, I think it's valid. Right? But they've got to turn it up a lot, Starty. They're down 40%. It's not and the Oilers were just average 15, 16, which is all they need to be. They're never built to be a team that's going to run you all over. They don't need to. But to be this lacking, I thought it was pretty. And you know what? When I talked to their players about it and pointed it out, I didn't, because sometimes you'll ask something and you'll get a little bit of pushback. I got no pushback. I got most saying, we can be more physical. And I think it's pretty obvious at times, right? That they need to and that's why I think a guy like Trent Frederic is such a big addition, and Kane, if he's back later on, because right now, when a game, remember when Connor McDavid said it in the LA game? There was nothing going on. Geez, I kind of felt like we needed a hit to get things going. And that's great that McDavid's willing to do it. But he shouldn't be the one who's needing to do it. They should have other guys who are hey, I'm not going to score 90, 100 points, but I can go out here and deliver a good check to kind of get guys going.
Yeah, I think I'll challenge you a little bit that, because I think sometimes you're the captain, you have to do something.
Sure.
And I don't think it has to be all the time. But they should have other guys who are in that mode that are willing to do it. So Frederic, Kane, I think Emberson could look for some more opportunities for some bigger hits. And laying guys out. And there's other guys in this, like Connor Brown. He can throw some hits, right? Janmark, you can throw hits. Hitting to me, I wasn't the fastest guy, but I was able at times to find hits because I would get myself in the right position. When you're a faster skater, you can get in there and get those hits a lot easier than everybody else, because it feels like you're hitting something standing still. It's a lot harder to hit a train when you're like a milk truck than when you're the other way around. So I think that's something that they have to look at. So I think it's something needs to be said in the room, not by the coach, but by the captains. And not a McDavid thing, but say, guys, we all need to be more hitting. We have to do more hitting. We have to have no more zeros in the hitting column. We have to do it. We don't have to plow guys through.
Yes.
But what it does is that it just knocks guys off the puck. It just lets them know that you're coming. And then the guys that are more into hitting, like the Embersons, like Frederic, like Kane, whenever that return happens, now you've got something going, because those guys will do most of the singing, but you still got the backup singers at least all hitting, once a game. Like when I saw Leon I think it was 0.98 per 60 hits. That means 3 games you're going right with one hit, I believe, if I'm reading that correctly. So and he's a bigger physical guy than that.
Sorry, it's actually 4, because he has about 15 minutes of 5-on-5 time per game.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Okay.
So that's a terrible optic too, man. If you're coming in, if you're an opponent, you know what I mean? If you think about it, Struds, if you were going in to play somewhere and you found out they were 32nd in the league in hitting, it's a different mindset even, man. It puts you down before the game even starts.
Yeah. And it's, again, there's different ways. When you're going back for D-man and you're getting plowed, you don't want that. But I always, just give me a bump, and then I can't jump up in the play, right? So you're bumping guys. So tonight, bump some of their D-men, and, hits are always a little bit, I don't always believe that they're counted the same in every rink, but there is a general way of doing it way better than they have. But I think this might be a Darnell thing. Maybe the more I think about Darnell's got to be one, guys, we've got to get back to playoff mode. this is what we've seen, and I think we know they're better than this.
Strutty, before I let you go, we were talking about the Chairman's Club, and it's glass down there by the rink, and you watch the players walk out of the room. Back at old Rexall, it was the only rink in the league where players would walk through the bar. You were at the, you were kind of in the early stages of the decade of darkness, Strutty. Do you have did you ever hear any positive comments, or do you more some of the negative ones you heard walking off or onto the ice?
Oh, buddy, we had some tough times there, and I remember like when things were going really bad, I tried to get behind Hork or Penner so that people wouldn't focus on me and they'd rip on those guys, and and it's terrible to say because like they would abuse those guys, and people would be just drunk, and you'd be like, what, 10 feet away from a guy yelling how bad you were. And I heard my fair share. Like, I'm not going to say I either A, didn't deserve it, or B, I shouldn't have been mocked. But they went after Penner. Oh my, and we'd actually laugh about it because like you get in there, it'd be like running the gauntlet. Like, hurry up, walk fast. Like, who's walking so slow at the front of the line? Like, let's get in there quick.
I could see Strutty one game just at the front of the line, walking as slow as possible, just to extend the pain for everybody else.
Oh God, great.
Well, maybe I had a good first period. I had a fight, and I sat in there. I got a 10. I sat in there for the whole period, and I was happy with my game. Let these other guys suffer. Oh no, it was. I remember though, like something like I'd just be like, pick up the pace, boys, pick up the pace. Like it's not going good, especially after the that second period when people are really. Because down there, I found people got fairly buckled.
Oh, dude, it was the most expensive cover charge on Friday and Saturday nights. People would pay for their tickets. Like, and trust me, I was one of them. Like, I remember before I was in the media, we would go to the games, and you would be underneath. You might watch the first period, maybe, and then you'd come down for the first interview. You wouldn't go back, right? And people would come in from all different areas, and it was like, because the Oilers, some of those games, they weren't remotely close, so. Actually, I guess I was always, when I was working there, usually I was underneath, but there's sometimes I wasn't. I go see my buddies, and people were just chugging beers because, and it was the heroin beers back then, right? Through the long tubes and stuff. And so, oh God, it was comedy hour sometimes, but I'm sure there was I've never stood there and watched or listened to people, but I'd be at the other end of the bar. And you could see it sometimes. You could just see some inebriated guy who, of course, would never say it if the player, like, I always wondered, like, if Sheldon Surrey or even you, Strutty, like, if you stopped and just looked at a guy, what'd you say? Like, I wonder what the reaction would have been.
Well, the concern would be that others would notice. So you're like, just keep moving. If we forechecked that hard, we would have been a lot better. Forechecked as hard as we got off the ice.
Awesome, Strutty. Enjoy the game tonight, and should be an interesting week to see. Do you think the Oilers make another move? I think they do.
Yeah, for what? A D-man?
Oh, I think a D-man for sure. And I think they might. I think they're going to try to make a move here for Jeff Skinner. I really do.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's best for both parties, right? I really do. Opportunity somewhere else for him, and they might eat a bit of that contract, but I think that makes sense, man. You're on to something.
That's Jason Strudwick joins us here every Tuesday on Sports 1440. Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan, Connor Halley with you. We'll get to 5 questions when we return on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
I take possession of my commercial space in 3 months. I need lighting. I need a fire alarm. I need data. I need a generator. I need panels.
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Projects team reporting. We design, build, and construct all the electrical systems for your projects. Need everything to work right? Get the Action Electrical project team on your site.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
At Papa John's, we're not just in the business of making better pizza. We're in the business of making everything better. Ambitious? Perhaps. Delicious? You better believe it. Monday? Make it a pizza party. Sick of parenting? Get Papa John's on dinner duty. Date night? We've got the recipe for romance. With our never frozen dough and always fresh toppings, Papa John's is committed to making it all better. Get better today at papajohns.ca or visit any of our 50-plus locations across Alberta. Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza.
Legacy Heating and Cooling jingle auditions, take one for Gene Principe. Are you ready, Gene?
Ready? I'm not just here to make a thermo a couple of bucks. I'd never just microphone it in.
Take one.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Nice.
Boom! I'm a musical genius.
Legacy's going to love this for furnace season.
I couldn't love it more. With no payments and no interest for 1 year.
Are you always like this?
Yep, unlike a furnace, I have no filter.
Legacy Heating and Cooling.
The Alzheimer's Face-Off presented by Christensen Communities Limited hits the ice April 25th to 27th, pairing hockey fans with some of their favorite players from the NHL Alumni Association for a fun-filled weekend in support of the Alzheimer's Society of Alberta and Northwest Territories. Friday features a champions luncheon followed by the teams hitting the ice on Saturday and Sunday in a friendly hockey tournament at Terwilliger Rec Center. To purchase a table to the champions luncheon or to learn more about how you can get involved in the tournament, visit alzheimersfaceoff.ca for more info.
Kids getting free all season long. Can you believe it? Looking for an enjoyable and affordable family night out? The Spruce Grove Saints are excited to introduce their Kids Get In Free program. All kids 12 and under receive free admission for every Saints home game this season. Bring the entire family for action-packed junior hockey at a fraction of the cost. For more information, check out sgsaints.ca.
It's the 2-day customer appreciation event at Vitality Health Foods. They're offering 25% off regularly priced products in stock, like Dr. Klein's Shilajit, featuring pure Himalayan Shilajit. Customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of each month. Visit Vitality Health Foods today.
Introducing the new McSpicy from McDonald's. It looks like a regular chicken sandwich, but it's actually a spicy chicken sandwich. McSpicy. Consider yourself warned. Limited time only. Participate in McDonald's in Canada.
Portions of this hour brought to you by EWEL. Get your power play amped up with EWEL, supplying the City of Champions and Alberta with quality electrical gear since 1975. EWEL.ca is your partner in power.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.449, Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan, Connor Halley on Sports 1440. Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Oh, man, text line. Many of you bringing back memories of your time at Rexall. Gregor, you were true. Friday or Saturday nights, it was almost better than going to the bar. There was a lot of people down there. There was a lot of mixing, a lot of mingling going on, no question. Let's get to 5 questions now, brought to you by The Brick. Are you waking up feeling more tired than when you went to bed? A good night's sleep starts with the right mattress. Visit The Brick's mattress store today and find the mattress that will give you the restful sleep you deserve. The Brick.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, guys, question number 1, as per tradition. What happens tonight as the Oilers host the Ducks and mix in a bold prediction?
6-1 Oil. David gets 4 goals. If there's going to be a time, this is going to be it.
Ooh, all righty.
I feel it. I feel it.
I think the Oilers are victorious. I think I had 5-3. I think there'll be some goals. Bold prediction. Vasily Podkolzin scores only his 2nd home goal of the season.
All right. Question number 2. In terms of compensation, is this what you thought it would take to get Trent Frederic out of Boston and then two-parter when he's healthy? Where does he slot into the lineup?
Well, I would start him on Draisaitl's left wing. I think that's the obvious one to me. He's a guy who brings your physicality. Podkolzin's been there a lot, but he just hasn't been able to finish. So I would try Frederic there. Doesn't mean he stays there, but that's where I'd start him. I never thought a bunch about it, but you think about it. You get Frederic, they give up a second and a fourth and some prospects. There's others. The prospects aren't just for Frederic because it's salary retention, and then there's other guys involved. So I don't think they gave up a whole bunch. Like, to me, obviously, it will look worse if he doesn't re-sign. Right now, if they win the cup, no one's going to care. They're like, nah, whatever. We gave up a second and fourth, and a Trent Frederic walks. You're like, yeah, but they won the cup. And if he scored a few key goals, you'll be fine with it. But let's say they don't win the cup, and then he doesn't re-sign. Well, then it looks worse. But overall, I don't have much of a problem with this. It's $575,000 cap hit for the Edmonton Oilers. So in a salary cap world, you got to do things to make it work, and it worked. So we'll see. I think Frederic, he filled a lot of holes for the Edmonton Oilers as far as just the energy, intensity. And I think he's going to be someone who can finish a little bit better than some of their wingers have on the left side.
Yeah, I'm first of all, I can't stress how much I love the move. I was just talking about it analytically earlier, but I do love it, and we spend so much time talking about hits and I don't want to put too much pressure on the guy coming in like RoboCop or something. I think he knows that, but it's what you need, and it's time of year. Does it surprise me? Not at all. And I think both player and organization are really looking forward to this marriage. Where does he play? Oh, man. I haven't dissected it enough. That's as good enough as any. Gregor said on the left wing with Draisaitl. Makes total sense. I could really see him anywhere in those top three lines, though. It'll be interesting.
Good versatility to have. Question number 3 for you guys. How many more moves will Stan Bowman make before the deadline expires?
I don't know. I think less than expected. I just think all these people were expecting so many trades, but like all the other teams, I just that are looking for somebody. I think there might be less available than people think, because teams a lot of teams are right on that bubble, right? And they don't want to give up, and they don't want to send the wrong message to their fans by trading a bit. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think there's going to be as many moves, and I don't know if the Oilers have a significant possibility left. Maybe some prospects here or there, but today was significant. I'm going to say no, nothing.
Nothing. Now, how big are the moves, Con? I think the Oilers end up making 2 more trades.
All right. Question number 4. Saquon Barkley became the highest paid running back of all time today. Eagles giving him a 2-year extension worth $41.2 million. Who are your top 3 running backs of all time?
Well, Collins, you're the NFL guy, so we'll let you go first.
Ooh, well, obviously I'm a little biased here. LaDainian Tomlinson would be in my top 3.
What? Where did that come from? I totally wasn't expecting.
Should I go with guys that I've seen?
Sure.
Because then it makes it a little bit different.
You mean you're not going to go with Mr. Brown?
Jim Brown would be tough for me to say. Even Barry Sanders, I missed the end of him. Okay. So I would say Marshall Faulk and Adrian Peterson would round out my top 3.
Okay, I'm going. Barry Sanders for sure. Loved him. It was short-lived, but Bo Jackson was sick.
Oh.
And Eric Dickerson would be the other one for me.
Okay, so again, not being as up to the NFL as you guys, but I do watch all those history. I try to catch myself up. I didn't see Jim Brown or Walter Payton would be up there according to everybody. I don't know. I know nothing, though. I know nothing other than reading stats. In my lifetime, Emmitt Smith, Barry Sanders, and you said it. I hate to go, but my outlier is Bo Jackson. And people that don't know who I'm talking about, look, and it's astounding. You could say running back. Any chance I get to put him into any conversation, I do, because I still haven't seen anything like it. The guy was an all-star and a bona fide all-star in 2 different sports. He didn't get injured. I think it was a hip. He would have rewritten record books in 2 different sports. And I just think he had so much left to give. Probably wouldn't be on a top 10 list. Definitely not a top 5. But for me, looking at that potential, combined with some great years. Now, he did have some good stats, but the longevity wasn't there. But I'm going Bo Jackson.
Bo Jackson, 1 less rushing yard in his career than Jim Harbaugh. Question number 5 for you guys. Catherine O'Hara turns 71. Of course, she was the mom in Home Alone. Kate McAllister in Schitt's Creek. Moira Rose, she was a mom in Beetlejuice. I'm sure other movies as well. Who, when it comes to fictional mothers, who would be atop your list? You can give a couple if you have any.
TR?
Oh, fictional mothers, definitely. Okay, well, I have one that's so far ahead of anything. I wasn't going to mention anybody, but you said you can mention a couple. Is it Is it Jennifer Coolidge in American Pie? Is that her name?
Yes, Stifler's
Right,
mom.
I forget her name, but
Stifler's mom.
And not just because I was like their age when it came out, and she was I think the first use of the word MILF. Am I wrong? I think that's where it came from. I could be wrong on that. Now, even though I love Jennifer Coolidge, and not just for those sex-craved reasons that a 17 or 18 or 20-year-old would like, but because I thought it was hilarious and I liked the movie. But my favorite of all time, by a landslide, is Lucille Bluth in Arrested Development. She hated all of her kids, and I don't know how it was so funny that you could, just the writers making that funny, to me, is just a work of art. Every single scene she's in, and if you haven't, and you must look at a TikTok or whatever, just best scenes with her and her son Buster Bluth are to die for.
Oh man, that's a good one. So I guess it kind of depends what type of mom you're looking for.
Yeah,
I you know what? When you it's hard to go against Sally Fields as Mrs. Gump. She would be willing to do anything for her son to get him ahead in life, and was very supportive of him. And the other one, it's she is ageless, literally, and very patient when need be. Also will very loving and tender, but had a few kind of sneaky, mean streaks, maybe mischievous streaks. I'm going Marge Simpson.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a great pick.
Yeah. I like it. Now there's the Kitty Foreman made me laugh a lot on that 70s show.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of good ones. To me, Lucille Bluth is at the top. What about you, Don, man?
What about Edith? Now this goes way back, but
Edith Bunker.
Edith Bunker
was on my list. Of course, you took the words. That was number 3 on my list.
Oh God, she was hilarious. Yeah. Hilarious. And who else was really? Claire Huxtable was pretty good mom on TV shows too. So yeah.
What was Miss Jefferson's name? Louise.
Oh, Louise. Yeah.
Right. Honeymooners.
Well, yeah. Well, George and George Jefferson is what I was thinking when you're saying the Jefferson. So I was like, oh, yeah. But did they even have any kids? I don't remember their kids in that show. They might have.
Oh, yeah, they did. Lionel. They had Louise. He used to go, Wheezy. Remember, he used to yell at Wheezy. That was his wife. And then, yeah, they had a kid, Lionel, that would show up every 4 or 5 episodes, I guess, comic relief.
Yeah. TR? We'll be talking on Thursday right before the trade deadline, so we'll see what happens. The Montreal Canadiens are in town, the team that drafted you, of course. So we'll have some Hab memories potentially on Thursday, and we'll see what happens between the Oilers and the Ducks tonight. Have yourself a great day.
Thank you, Connor. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Edmonton, and we'll see you guys in just a couple of days.
There you go. That's Terry Ryan joins us Tuesday and Thursdays here on Sports 1440. Oilers and the Ducks. That's coming up. Connor's going to update you on a trade. I would assume you know about it, but just in case you don't, you're probably going to want to pay attention to the Sports 1440 update brought to you by Booster Juice. They're introducing 3 new food options. The guacamole chicken panini, the guacamole black bean wrap, and the egg and chipotle black bean wrap. Visit your nearest Booster Juice today and create new cravings.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Gregor mentioned it. The Edmonton Oilers acquiring forwards Trent Frederic and Max Jones from the Boston Bruins earlier today, along with draft choice Peter Hauser from the New Jersey Devils. With that, the Oilers sending defenseman Max Weiner to Boston Bruins, along with a 2025 second-round pick and a fourth-round pick in 2026 for retaining 50% of the Devils' salary, or Frederick's salary. The Devils receiving Shane Lachance from the Oilers. The Oilers in action tonight, taking on the Anaheim Ducks. That one gets going in about 2 hours. We'll have pregame coverage for you here on Sports 1440 at 6 with myself and Donovan Paulson, immediately following the Jason Gregor Show. Elsewhere around the NHL, Flames are in Philadelphia. The Islanders up against the Jets. Devils take on the Stars. Avs host the Penguins. And the Wild meet the Kraken. The Toronto Raptors are in action tonight, taking on the Orlando Magic. Tip off in about 5 minutes' time. They'll be without Grady Dickens. He's going to miss the next 2 weeks at least with a bone bruise. Team made that announcement earlier today. He suffered that injury on Sunday. In the AJ tonight, Just one game on the schedule. 7 o'clock, you got Whitecourt heading to Bonnyville, and in the PWHL, Minnesota up against Montreal. That one gets going shortly. NFL news, Saquon Barkley's record-breaking season rewarded by the Philadelphia Eagles that they signed him to a 2-year contract extension worth $41.2 million. That makes him the highest paid back in NFL history. And a couple weeks after parting ways with Aaron Rodgers, the New York Jets have released his favorite target, Devontae Adams. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and Derek Van Dies from NHL.com. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
It's the season for love, and you're about to fall hard for the vehicle of your dreams. Presenting the outstanding 2025 XC90 from Volvo Cars Edmonton. Right now, you can lease your 2025 XC90 plug-in hybrid from 1.49% and save $4,600. Or finance a 2025 XC60 from 1.49% and save $1,500. All while being deeply infatuated by the newly upgraded, highly attractive body and wheel design. Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. 1205 101 Street Southwest.
It's the 2-day customer appreciation event at Vitality Health Foods. They're offering 25% off regularly priced products in stock, like Dr. Klein's Shilajit, featuring pure Himalayan Shilajit. Customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of each month. Visit Vitality Health Foods today.
Are you tired of waking up tired? Are you tossing and turning all night and stiff and sore the next morning? If your sleep is suffering, it's time to visit the Brick Mattress Store. Their sleep experts will help you find the right support for a restful night's sleep. Back sleeper, side sleeper, hot or cold, there is a perfect mattress for you. Plus, with next day delivery, your best night's sleep could be tomorrow. Check out the Brick Mattress Store locations in Spruce Grove, South Edmonton, St. Albert, and Leduc, and start waking up refreshed.
Dang. Last season, you bought new clubs to fix your game. You spent the entire season trying to learn how to hit with your magic clubs. And guess what? Dang. They didn't help your game. Now you're convinced it's your swing. But it really is your clubs. Even though you were told the ones you bought were the best ever made, if they were, you would have gotten better. Every day at Fitted Golf, we continue to prove the right clubs make all the difference in the world. From beginners to pros, Fitted Golf makes all the difference. Yes, fittedgolf.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling offers no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. So when you wake up to no heat,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
if you need it immediately, no overtime rates. If you need it immediately and want to combo it with AC.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
No payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. It could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
At Papa John's, we're not just in the business of making better pizza. We're in the business of making everything better. Ambitious? Perhaps. Delicious? You better believe it. Monday? Make it a pizza party. Sick of parenting? Get Papa John's on dinner duty. Date night? We've got the recipe for romance. With our never frozen dough and always fresh toppings, Papa John's is committed to making it all better. Get better today at papajohns.ca or visit any of our 50-plus locations across Alberta. Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza.
Need a solid foundation without the fuss? Richard and Kalina at DCL Pile Driving have your back. Locally owned, they offer straight, driven piles. No screwing around. Serving all of Alberta, DCL Pile Driving gets your foundation ready in hours with minimal ground disturbance. Perfect for tight spaces, whether it's for a deck, grain bins, or RTMs. Tell them the radio sent you and receive a special discounted rate. Call or text 587-322-PILE. DCL Pile Driving. Don't get screwed. Get piles driven.
He's done it all. Grammy Awards, Billboard hits, over 10 million albums sold. Live in 2025, River Cree Resort and Casino proudly presents the one and only T.I. This Saturday in the venue, T.I. Live. Tickets on sale now at rivercreeresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. It's Terrific Tuesday. Get 40% off any regular price pizza when you use the code word 40Tuesday at the start of each pizza order at papajohns.ca.
hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 5 o'clock. Welcome back, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley. It is the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Is always presented by our title sponsor, PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the province of Alberta. PlayAlberta.ca. It's a new month, so be sure to use the code Gregor50 if you want to try your luck again. PlayAlberta.ca. Text still flying in, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. I'd say, you know what, for the most part, I want to say 90% of fans on the text line anyway seem like they like the trade for Trent Frederic. And why not? Not everybody's, if everybody liked it, it'd be kind of boring. So, there's always going to be someone, hey, you know what, they gave up too much. And sure, they gave up too much, maybe potential. That's all it is at this point. They didn't give up any, their NHL team today got way better than their NHL team was yesterday. Their future might be weakened, but I don't really think they're worrying about the future right now. Let's get to the spec report brought to you by GS Construction, the underground infrastructure specialists, and a company that prides themselves on doing lots in the community. They support loads of charities. They're always helping out. That's GS Construction, as we welcome in from Rogers Sportsnet, Mark Spector. And Spec, well, hey, that's 1 for 1. I had Trent Frederic as a top of my list on guys I think that would help the Edmonton Oilers. A right shot center would still be there. Maybe a right shot defenseman. We'll see what happens. They only added $575K in cap space. So we'll see. I want to start, though, I guess. Give me your thoughts, first of all, on the deal. What you think?
Well, certainly it scratches an itch. They're too old, too slow, and they don't hit enough in their bottom six. So he's younger at 27. Frederic skates very well, and he hits a lot of people. He gives you a physical presence. So yes, their bottom six got better right now. Someone said to me today, could he play the role that Pat Maroon played next to Connor McDavid? I don't know. I don't know that answer. But I thought it was interesting because Patty Maroon wasn't exactly a speedster, and he did pretty well sort of keeping the flies off of Connor McDavid. So that's a thought. Someone else?
I think it's more likely that he does that, but on with Draisaitl, right? You got Hyman with McDavid. Draisaitl needs a winger. McDavid doesn't need a winger. Draisaitl needs a winger.
No, but the winger that Draisaitl needs isn't Trent Frederic. Draisaitl needs a top six skill winger for my money. I think McDavid and Hyman can afford to have Trent Frederic on the left side, and maybe that makes Ryan Nugent-Hopkins Draisaitl's winger. I don't know what's going to happen here. The biggest thing, and I've heard you say it all afternoon, to me, if they can sign Trent Frederic at a reasonable number and get this player in the same vein as they did with Matthias Ekholm at the deadline, then it's an excellent trade. I love the trade. If it's a rental, well, now we're going to have to hang around and see what happens with. There's some talk LeChance wasn't going to sign here. I'm not sure that's true. I've just seen a little bit of chatter on that. Let's see what happens with the draft picks. But if he signs here, Jay, I'm going to tell you right now, I think it's good for the Oilers.
Oh, God. Yeah, for sure. We'll see. Hey, Spec, I have argued for a long time. I think sometimes college prospects in the United States get so overhyped, it's unbelievable.
Yes, they do.
I have only ever watched him play one game, so I'm not going to sit here and say I think he's this or I think he's that. All I know is when I look at history of a position and a player that gets overrated, it's NCAA players get overrated more than anyone else, and probably because you have a lot of Americans, they love their college spark. They're great, they're all going to make it, and as we all know, that's not the case. But you just think about how those players get hyped up infinitely more than junior players do. It's not even close. So,
fair. What about the other guy? What are you hearing on Max Jones?
Well, Max Jones is going to go to Bakersfield right away. He played 4 years in the American League. I actually looked up because this year he's basically been in the American League. He played 7 games, in the NHL. But they have Brazo, they had Frederic, they kind of had a lot of guys similar to him, so he wasn't going to play there. He's a former first-round pick who hasn't really lived up to it offensively. I think if he does ever play in your team, it's it's in a bottom, probably a fourth line role. The problem is he doesn't kill penalties, or never killed penalties in Anaheim. So, if I'm Max Jones, if I'm in the minors this year, I haven't seen it or not, but I'd have been begging to kill penalties because that's the only way he's ever going to get himself a regular spot again. But he actually skates really well, Spec. I looked it up. Last year in the NHL, his top speed was 22.96 miles an hour, which was in the 86th percentile amongst forwards. And then his bursts over 20 miles an hour were 82nd percentile. So he could actually move for a big guy, 6'3", 215. Like, he can skate. So, if you do that and you got some size and, we've seen guys go to the American League or whatever and then bounce back. It's such a fine line between American leaguers and fourth liners and some even third liners, to be honest. So, but when I look at the Oilers' left wing depth chart spec today, I got Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. I got Trent Frederic. I got Evander Kane. I know that those guys aren't here yet, but they're coming at some point. I've got Podkolzin. I've got Janmark. And then I got Jeff Skinner. I don't really see much room for Max Jones. And honestly, Spec, that leads to my next question. I just outlined you 5 left wingers, 2 of them who aren't here yet, and Skinner's still not in the lineup. Like, to me, they got to try to facilitate a trade. Do they not? On both parties should look and say, hey, this just isn't working.
No, it's not working. He's found, he started up high in the lineup. He fell out of it. He worked his way back tried his best defensively. He goes on the road trip here. He gets a couple games of Draisaitl. They come home, they're putting Savoy back in, and he's the first guy out. So the coaching staff, this is one of those things, Jason, where I really, the coaching staff's just trying to win. And in fact, in this case, they've got a player, their CEO and Jeff Jackson stuck his neck out on this guy and signed him as a free agent. The coaching staff would much rather that they like this guy, right? It would be a lot easier in the meetings with Jackson and Bowman if they like this player. They don't like the player, okay? I would say to you, all signs are that neither McDavid or Draisaitl is enamored with playing with that player, Jeff Skinner. Not a personal thing. Not a personal thing. Just it's not working. The coaches look at his defensive work. They don't like it. We can all see his foot speed is poor. It's not going to happen here for this coaching staff on this team with this roster. Jeff Skinner's as close to done as you're going to be. So it's up to him to say, okay, uncle, right? I'll take a trade somewhere. What has he got? He's making $3 million. The Oilers would retain whatever's. They've retained some of that just to move the player and throw in some type of sweetener. And, maybe they can find a fringe wild card team that thinks he can help them. Maybe a Detroit wants them, or an Ottawa wants them, or a Montreal for the last couple months here, right? Maybe that's a deal you can make where he can still hold out a candle of maybe getting a playoff game in, right? Maybe that's how it has to go.
Yeah. I look at Skinner now, and I'll be honest, I thought he would be in a better fit here. I wrote about it. Hey, he's a really good 5-on-5 scorer. He's been one of the top 5-on-5 scorers. He's going to come in here. He's going to help your team. And I know he scored 11 goals on this team, and that's fair. There's a lot of guys who are underachieving. But even when I went and looked at his goals per 60 rate, it's actually like out of his 12 NHL seasons, it ranks like 8th. So he does have 11 in Edmonton, it's still by his standards at 5-on-5. He's not even scoring at the rate that he normally does. And so I look at it, and I don't see a fit. At this point now. And for Edmonton's case, hey, they might just give a guy away. Like,
they would give him away.
Yeah, like similar to Nessa Puljujarvi. Now he has more value because some team might say, hey, we think this guy can help us. I'm just not sure which team it is. But some team might take a flyer on him because they say, hey, we just need a guy who can finish. And even, Jeff Skinner doesn't get around the ice very well. He still has 11 goals, on pace for what that put him on pace for. I think 16. Right? Like, it's not awful numbers by any stretch of the imagination.
If you're not as deep and you felt like you could return him to the role that he used to be, that he's accustomed to. One of his problems at Edmonton is he's had to learn how to play with a lot less ice time, usually in the depth position, not in the top 6, not on power play, and it's at his age in his career, I sympathize with that. It's hard to change your stripes when you're an older cat like he is. So if he could return to a team, if I had a team and I needed a top 6 left winger, and I thought I needed a guy that did on the power play that could, muck a little bit in front and get something in from close in, like he's a guy that scores from 15 feet. I could say to myself, you know what, maybe returning him to those minutes in that role, I might have a good player here. That's all I got for you. He's not working in Edmonton. That doesn't mean he won't work anywhere. The Oilers I'm sure they're actively trying to seek out the place where he can work, and they would require no return for that player.
Yeah. So, what about the defense? Do you see them trying to upgrade on John Klingberg potentially?
Yeah, Struddy took the words right out of my brain, right? I think we've watched Klingberg here, and we've liked the work he's done with the puck, and we don't love the work he does without the puck. Struddy knows a hell of a lot more about playing defense in the NHL than I'll ever know. But when he said that, I thought that is exactly how I feel. So, you know what? They need a defender. They need a guy in that role. They could use a bigger man. They need a guy that can defend. So, yes, I still think they need someone to play with Nurse on that pairing. And if Klingberg hangs around as a depth guy, then you're better for that. And if you need to trade that player to facilitate the move, you didn't spend anything on John Klingberg, so it might still be a good move, right?
Oh, 100%. Like you could move out Klingberg in the deal if you had to, Spec, right? Like that frees up 1.75 mil, right? Like that's when they acquired Ekholm, they moved out Barry. So, you can do it. And you know what I said? I wrote the article. Funny enough, it came out. I had people joking, saying, "Hey, maybe Bowman read your article," but obviously I don't think so. Although I ran into Stan yesterday when I was leaving the practice ring, and I was talking, and then Bill Scott came up and kind of joking. He's like, "Hey, Stan, I got a trade to talk about," thinking that I was asking about it. And earlier, I just finished talking to Stan Bowman about Trent Frederic, and
yes,
what I thought he would add to the team. And obviously, he didn't give away anything that they were close. But I can tell you the one thing he liked about Trent Frederic in our conversation was he likes his. He can play both center and wing. He's not a good face-off center iceman. You look at all the numbers; he's not good there. Yeah. Now he's played more wing than he has played center. But the thing about it, he can play center, and he's comfortable. Like there's more to a center iceman than just being face-off guy, right? Trent Frederic understands the other elements of being a center, and that's why when I look at it, and Trent Frederic, you play Trent Frederic with Leon Draisaitl. Now there's a few shifts where Draisaitl. Maybe he's the high winger, just like when Nugent Hopkins plays with McDavid, because Frederic knows how to play low. Like there are benefits to it of playing there. And that's where I think he'll start. I think he will start there, barring another acquisition between now and Friday. I would guess that Frederic, when he comes in, would get a look because Podkolzin's been beside Draisaitl all year long. And I like his effort. I like his defensive acumen, all that stuff, but he's not doing anything offensively. And at some point you need someone to produce some offense when you play with Draisaitl. It can't just be that you're on the ice with them because Podkolzin, they were good early, but if you actually look at their analytics and goals for, goals against, that's dropped as well. So in the new year here with Podkolzin. So I think Trent Frederic, that's where he'll get a look.
You think he'll get a look next to Draisaitl? Well, I mean, the one thing I know about this team is now it might not be written in stone, but I know that Chris Knobloch prefers the Janmark, Henrik Brown line, and he prefers to have them when they're playing well to play against the other team's best line. That's what in his perfect world, that's a line, and he deploys them against the other team's top line. He likes that. That tells me that Trent Frederic doesn't have much room on the third line, and I don't think I want to play that player on my fourth line left wing because now he's only going to get 9 or 10 minutes a game. So, that kind of does leave you at left wing with Draisaitl. I want to say, Jason, that poor Leon Draisaitl has been sidelined all season with guys that aren't very productive offensively, right? Podkolzin and Arvidsson, it is amazing that Draisaitl is in the Hart Trophy and perhaps in many books leading the Hart Trophy conversation with considering who his wingers are all year. There is no Mikko Rantanen to his Nathan McKinnon. There is no Zach Hyman to his Connor McDavid, man. He's playing with a couple guys that are struggling offensively. So I kind of feel like if I'm Bowman and I can do it, if you're telling me that Trent Frederic's the best I can do for Leon Draisaitl, I don't know. All right. I don't know about that. Is that fair?
Well, it is totally valid that, Draisaitl's year, considering, Rantanen was with McKinnon earlier and, Kucherov plays with Point and Gensel. Like, the Draisaitl's doing this with guys who aren't producing has been fantastic.
Now you're going to give them basically a third line winger is what you're giving them here.
But what are your better options? That's my point. Like now, maybe it's Kane, but I'm just saying based on who's on the roster now, who do you think is better? And then the other thing, going back to the Patrick Maroon thing, Patrick Maroon showed an awareness and ability to play with the skilled player. Why does Podkolzin play with Draisaitl? Because he's a good forechecker. Well, Trent Frederic's a good forechecker, but he's a better finisher than Podkolzin. He's not a 50-goal scorer finisher, but he's better than the guy who's been there most of the year. So that's why I would try.
He's an upgrade on Podkolzin. There's no doubt about that. If Podkolzin's my fourth line left winger and he's banging and skating and rip a wrist shot once in a while, I'm not complaining about that. To me, that's a pretty good fourth line left winger. Who's your fourth line now? You got Perry on the right side. You got maybe Kapanen in there somewhere. You got Podkolzin playing. Still don't really have a fourth line center, but I guess they'll figure that out. To me, that's all material. The most important things now, I think they did get some size and beef in their lineup. I don't know what they're going to do with Max Jones. The thing about Max Jones, I will say to you, Jason, the one thing that intrigues me is this. This is that guy. He's drafted 24th overall back in 2016. He's in his third organization. It's pretty evident here he's not going to be a top 6 forward, right? Now, I don't know where his headspace is at. Like, we always talk about Andrew Cogliano, who had to figure out what he was. He went to Anaheim and he played another 800 games there. When the Oilers got Zach Kassian, right? When he arrived here trying to resurrect his career, how good was he for the first 2 seasons? I mean, he was lights out good. So something, maybe I'm being hopeful, but I think that player, Max Jones, fits that criteria of a guy. He's big, he's fast. He needs to figure out what he needs to be on a good team here to stay on a good team. I wonder if he can be that guy. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I outlined the left wing spots. If Kane doesn't get traded and you got Frederic coming in, where does he fit in? That means you're playing him ahead Podkolzin all of a sudden is what you're doing, because Nugent Hopkins isn't coming out of the lineup for him. Kane's not coming out. Frederick's not coming out. So those would be your top 3 left wingers if Kane's still here. So then there's Podkolzin and Janmark, right?
I might be talking about Jones for next season, frankly, more than this season.
Possibly, sure. I could see that. Right.
I do like his size and speed. This bottom 6 is too old, too slow, too small. We all agree on that. Me, and every guy listening to this radio station, we all agree on that. So I guess what I'm saying is I got a younger guy who they say skates real well, and he's big and strong. That's all I got for you. But he does have some of the elements that this bottom 6 needs pretty badly. If not this year, certainly next year.
Yeah, true. But you got big and strong and small and skate. Do you think the game? Can you kill penalties? Can you do other things?
I got you.
Right. So
I had one scout tell me today, one good long old scout said, this guy's a sneaky pickup. You're going to love him. And then another guy texts me back. He goes, yeah, he's not an NHL player.
Well, everybody has a different opinion on a player, right? And that's what makes it. Hey, scouting's tough. All right, you got guys who've been pro scouting. One guy's going to say he's not a player. Other going to say, hey, I think he's a sneaky good player. So, you know what? Sometimes, Beck, that's how coaches are. Some coaches, I don't think I like this guy's game. Oh, I love this guy's game. So sometimes it comes down to, do you have a coach who fits to your game?
Yeah, who trusts you and wants to use you and give you opportunity. And sure. So I don't know Max Jones from a hole in the ground. I watched him play a few times, barely noticed him. So let's see. I guess my point is we're all talking about Trent Frederic. And, let me be one of the early guys to say that if this cat wants to reinvent himself as the bottom 6 guy, maybe there's a player there. Let's find out.
Beck, we'll see you at the rink. Have yourself a good one.
All right. Sounds good, Jay.
Max Jones to me is like a throw into the trade. If he becomes a player, awesome. I don't see right now that being a possibility. Now, if you move out some other guys, then I guess it is. But just looking at there's 6 left wingers ahead of him right now on the depth chart. Now, 2 of them aren't healthy. But then really there's another right winger playing left wing tonight because Skinner's out. We'll take a quick break. That was a Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. DVD. We'll return talking more hockey. Oilers taking on the Quackers. We'll talk a little bit about the game tonight. How about Calvin Pickard starting consecutive regular season games for the first time as a member of the Oilers? We'll discuss that.
This is going to make you hungry. Booster Juice just dropped new guacamole and black bean grilled fresh options.
What the guac?
Yeah, a guacamole black bean wrap, guacamole chicken panini, and an egg and chipotle black bean wrap.
What a trio! Holy guacamole!
Bye-bye, boring as bread sandwiches.
Guac, yeah! New flavors, new cravings.
Avocado up to wraps and paninis from Booster Juice. Canadian-born blending since 1999. Download the Booster Rewards app and order one today.
It's the best time of the year, championship season. In the Junior Prospects Hockey League, the quest to claim the Prospects Cup begins with 4 divisions from across Western Canada taking aim. The Hockey Super League's run to the HSL Championship will feature 105 teams battling it out in 4 communities throughout Alberta. And the Female Super League, in its inaugural season, will see teams compete for playoff supremacy. To catch all the championship action, head to silentice.com for league playoff schedules.
It's the 2-day customer appreciation event at Vitality Health Foods. They're offering 25% off regularly priced products in stock, like Dr. Klein's Shilajit, featuring pure Himalayan Shilajit. Customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of each month. Visit Vitality Health Foods today.
Play Alberta has hundreds of casino games right at your fingertips. Join thousands discovering why Fortune Coin is one of Alberta's most popular games. Fill your reels with golden coins, multiply your prizes up to 6 times, and turn good spins into legendary ones. Land the Fortune Coin symbol to win cash, trigger the jackpot, launch the free spins bonus, and watch as the dragon takes over your screen. New players get 100 free spins only on playalberta.ca. Claim your offer today.
Explore Internet just got 10 times faster. 5G Ultra brings incredible speeds to homes in rural and small town Canada. Upgrade today at xplore.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Sherbrooke Liquor. Sherbrooke is a house of curiosities, a mom and pop, a curated experience that is equal parts wine tastings and 2 fours for May long. See more at SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.30, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Hope you are having yourselves an awesome day. Of course, it's game day. Oilers and the Anaheim Ducks set to do battle tonight as we welcome in to the show Derek Van Diest. DVD, how you doing, man?
Good, Jason. How you doing today?
Oh, hey, it's an easy day, man. It's gonna be an easy few days. There's so much going on, and then when all the dust settles, then we're have some time to analyze the teams as they get set for the playoffs. And obviously Trent Frederic edition for the Oilers. You're not going to see him in action probably for at least 2 weeks, I would think. Maybe I guess he could join them late on that 4-game road trip, but we'll see. I'm sure he'll come to Edmonton. But it's funny, like he comes to Edmonton, he might get to see the guys for a day or two, but then they go on a road trip, and then you're by yourself training. But that's just kind of how it goes. What was your initial reaction to the deal? What do you think of the deal? And do you think Stan Bowman has got more?
I liked it. I do like it. I get to see a lot of Bruins games. They show a lot of Bruins games here on Sportsnet. So I've seen him play a lot. I like the size, the fact that he's a big guy. He's got some size. He's very physical. He's a guy who's not afraid to mix things up. He's out of the lineup right now. I think, what is it, an ankle injury? He had a boot on for a little while there. So be interesting to see how long it takes him to get back. They said 2 to 3 weeks. But I do like it because the Oilers, this is a team that we've been talking about, their bottom six, that has to get a little bigger, has to get a bit more physical, has to get a little younger. And I think they do that with this trade. And I think it's a very good trade. I think he's going to fit in well. And this is a guy that when it comes to the playoffs, when it comes to playoff hockey, you need guys like this. You need guys that are big bodies, that are physical, that can get in on the forecheck, that are good skaters, and he can chip in. And this is a guy that he had 18 goals last year. He had 17 the year before. So he's potentially a 20-goal scorer. So he's got some hands as well. So if he gets a chance to play up the lineup, that might happen as well. He can contribute with you offensively. So I like this move a lot from Stan Bowman.
Looking ahead, Trent Frederic comes in. Does this change anything for Vander Kane in your eyes, or do you think they're just going to have both of them in the lineup?
I think they would have both of them in the lineup, and then I think this is a situation where you can have both of them in your lineup, and that helps you out with the pod goals. And suddenly you're not a light team anymore. Like suddenly you have some bodies on the back, on the front end, and then you got Nurse and Ekholm on the back end. Suddenly you've gone from a highly skilled, smaller team to a physical team, a team that can really kind of play that game, especially in the playoffs when it's important. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Evander Kane. I think if he's ready to play during the playoffs, I think they can have them both in the lineup, and it all depends on how effective Kane's going to be after missing the entire season, right? That's what it's going to come down to, is how effective he can be. But I think they can use them both, and I think probably drop a couple other guys, smaller, slower guys out of the lineup. So I don't have a problem with the Oilers getting bigger on their bottom six. I think that's a good thing for this hockey club. And I think it's something that they've needed. Everyone talks about how their hits are down this year. They're not as physical this year. I think, you guys made that talking point to McDavid the other day, that the hits are down. And so this is going to help in that regard, guys that can be physical and go out there and try to win pucks and get on the forecheck and try to make defensemen pay for moving the puck.
Yeah, no, it's something that they need on the team. I think that was obvious. Stan Bowman admitted it, the coach admitted it, the captain admitted it, that they need as a group to be a little bit more physical. And one player isn't going to change it, but if sometimes one or two guys do it, and all of a sudden other guys are like, oh, now I'm in the game more, and all of a sudden they'll do it. Now, I do think the coach at times has to make it a little bit more of a priority as well, to just say, hey, if you're there, you can finish your check now. Yeah. Looking ahead to the game. Calvin Pickard starting for the first time in the regular season. Of course, we all know he started games 4 and 5 in the playoffs against Vancouver last year, but this is his first time. What do you make of this when you analyze like who they're playing next, how he's played, how Skinner's played? What do you make of this decision?
Yeah, I think, you got 3 games this week. I think you're looking at the schedule. Calvin Pickard's coming off a really good game in Carolina. And I think that's the thing. Like, he saved them in Carolina. He got them that win, obviously making the big breakaway save at the end as well. So I think this is a thing from Chris Knobloch. You always talk about rewarding players for having good performances, and I think this goes in that direction. Listen, we're going to reward this guy. He had a really good game in Carolina, kind of saved our bacons there. So we're going to reward him with this start here in Anaheim. I still do think that regardless, they'll go back to Stuart Skinner against the Montreal Canadiens and against the Dallas Stars. But I think this is a way to kind of spread the workload a little bit. And Calvin Pickard, he deserves this start based on his play in Carolina. And I think this is a message that Chris Knobloch is sending, not necessarily to Stuart Skinner, but I think it's a message to sending to the team, to the other guys. They always talk about, hey, if I play well, you're going to reward me. And it'd be tough for a guy like Calvin Pickard to come off that performance in Carolina, where he essentially won them the game, and not come back with him the next day, or the next game. So I think this is a message to the team saying, yes, if you play well, you're going to be rewarded. You're going to be back in the lineup. And I think, the team kind of rallied around Calvin Pickard for that win. And I think this is a good thing going forward. But I do expect Stuart Skinner to start the next 2 games.
I would wholeheartedly agree. I think there's a lot of things about this. Skinner, it's a slight little message to him. Hey, it's the first time he played back-to-back. But I would also have the conversation with him, hey, Stu, Going to Pickard. Remember the last time he sat out 2 games in a row? He played great for us in the next 15 in the playoffs. And so we expect that, right? Like, it's all, how you can approach the mindset for a player. And it's also, hey, Calvin deserves it, right? Like, he played really well. So you give him that. Creates a slight little bit of competition, which is good. And the last time, as I said, Skinner, because you want him to be more consistent. I don't think there's any debate on that. So you get him, and maybe he comes back against Montreal and Dallas, who, are higher in the standings than Anaheim. So there's another way you could present, hey, we're going to play you against the better teams. So, there's lots of ways if you want to play the mind game so a player doesn't look at it as a negative, and he gets a few extra days of practice time, and sometimes that can help a goalie.
Yeah, and it's obvious that Chris Knobloch hasn't been incredibly happy with Stuart Skinner's play of late, and maybe he's getting a little too comfortable. And I think this is a message like, hey, you can't be comfortable because the guy behind you can play, and we have confidence in this guy behind you, and we're not afraid to play him when we need to. And they obviously showed that last year in the playoffs where they went to Calvin Pickard. So I think this is a bit of a shot across the bow of Stuart Skinner saying, hey, you got to play better. And Stuart Skinner knows he's got to be a little better. He knows that he's got to make some of those big saves, and he can't be as leaky as he has been. It doesn't matter if you make 4 unbelievable saves. If you let in 1 bad goal, then that kind of unravels everything you've done up to that point. And I think Stuart Skinner knows that, and he realizes that. And I'm pretty sure this is a message, you're right, to him saying, hey, we need you to tighten up. We need you to be a little bit better, and we can't let you get too comfortable here.
DVD, Derek Van Diest from NHL.com joins us. The Canucks came out today and said they're not going to be in buyer mode, but they didn't say they wouldn't be sellers. Do you think we will see them sell off a few pieces before Friday?
I think they had a couple of guys going up on contracts that were ending. So those guys might be, I think, selling. Vancouver's still in the running. They're still in the race. This is a team that was, they had such a great year last year. They set the bar so high, and then they kind of really dropped off this year. Now they've moved pieces. They moved JT Miller. They moved Aaron A. They have moved some pieces, and then they got a couple other pieces there that if they don't think they can sign for next season, I think they will be moving out. I think right now Vancouver's looking at their lineup and going, okay, we're going to have to retool because we're not having the year we have. They don't want to do a rebuild, because you got Quinn Hughes there, and he's not going to be part of a rebuild. Like, this is a guy, you have one of the best defensemen in the league. You have to build around him, and you have to build a team that's capable of playing around him. I think up front, they're a little thin. So, obviously, Pettersson's not having the year that they expected. He's not playing the way that they expected. He admitted as much, I think it was today, that, hey, I'm not playing that well. I know I got to play better. But I think that Vancouver's kind of being really honest with themselves right here. They're not a contending team. They could get in the playoffs. Who knows? They may make some noise if they get a hot goaltender. But yeah, I think they're not sellers per se, but I do think that they're going to look at some. They got a couple of contracts that, a couple of guys that are going to be unrestricted free agents. If they don't think they can sign those guys, I really do think that they'll try and get assets back in return.
The Calgary Flames, what do you think they do?
Well, it's funny. At the beginning of the year, the Flames were all about, we're retooling. I think they owe it to that roster to make a run, to kind of keep them together and to try and make the playoffs here. I think those guys have played so hard this season. I think that a lot of guys are playing above themselves. A lot of guys, I know they're having trouble scoring goals as of late. I think they have 1 goal in their last 3 games, so they're having trouble scoring. But I do think that I don't think they're going to move up a bunch of assets. I think they want to keep this group together, and they maybe add a piece or two, because I believe that they believe that they're close. Like, whether they are or not, that's up for debate. But I think this team was supposed to drop off of this playoff race in December, and then January, and then February, and they're still kind of sticking around. So they haven't fallen off. Right, they're right there. They're in the second wild card spot. So I think they're not gonna. They may tweak that roster. They may bring someone in to help. They need help up front. They need help scoring goals. But I do think that Craig Connor looks at that roster and goes, "Listen, I can't start picking this roster apart after they've played so hard all season, and they're right in a playoff spot, and we can't pull the rug from under them." So I think they're not going to sell off assets. At the beginning of the year, a lot of people were talking about what's going to happen with Nazem Kadri. Is he going to move? Is he going to stay? I think they're going to keep that group together and try to make a push here for the playoffs and try to get in a playoff spot, which would surprise everyone, because no one expected the Calgary Flames to be battling for a playoff spot, particularly this late in the season. So they're right there. They're getting points. They're playing well for the most part, but they're playing so hard right now. I think you have to reward the team for that.
DVD, Leon Draisaitl needs 1 goal to tie Mark Messier for 4th on the Oilers' all-time goal-scoring list. Does Leon Draisaitl, when his career's over, is he the highest goal scorer in Oilers history?
Oh, that's a good. How many goals behind Gretzky? Is he?
He's under 200.
Under 200. I think so. What's he got? 8 years to do it? I think so. Like, this is a guy that, he's gonna get 50 this year.
Honestly,
you might have another couple more 50 goal seasons in him. Yeah, if he's only 200 behind Gretzky, I think he does it. Just the way he's playing, he's been lights out. He's big and strong and fast and so talented, and I think obviously when you look at that mark, 200 goals in 8 seasons. I think he gets there easily if he sticks around, if he stays healthy. I think he does become the highest goal scorer in the history of Edmonton Oilers.
I'm going to say it right now. I was crunching all the numbers today. Leon Draisaitl is going to, when his career is over, be one of the, currently there's 8 players who have 700 plus NHL goals. Leon Draisaitl trending, and I'm going to say this, he will be the 9th player to score 700 goals in the NHL.
No, I can see that. Like I said, I think he's going to get 50 again this year. I still think he's got a bunch of 50 goal seasons in him still. Well, look at Ovechkin. He's 40 years old. He's going to challenge 50 goals this year. So I think there's a lot of hockey left in Leon Draisaitl. I think there's a lot of exceptional hockey. He's just getting into his prime. He's 28 years old, 29 years old. He's just getting into his prime. I think he's got 4 or 5 good years in him, and he's going to score a lot of goals for this hockey club.
Awesome. DVD, have yourself a great day, my man.
Sounds good. See you down at the rink.
There you go. That's Derek Van Diest. Trust me, you look at the numbers of Leon Draisaitl. He is such a unique player, and I think, you got McDavid, who's phenomenal. I really believe the more I look in Leon Draisaitl, the more he is underrated for how good he truly is and what he's doing. And he's going to be. I look at it because the reason why I think 700 goals is almost a no-brainer. So I think, so this is the last year of his deal. Then he has 2 years. By the end of 2027, he will be at 500 career goals. He needs 109 goals the rest of this year and the next 2 seasons. Not a huge amount for him. Or he'll be right around it. Then he would have 6 years to score 200 goals. An average of 33 goals per season. Not even a super high number. That gets him to 700. And he's still then, you look at players like, 37-8. Could he check on a few other 20-goal seasons? Like Draisaitl's going to have a really good career, man. Really good. Quick break. We'll come back. We'll get you to the lineup and more on the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Play Alberta has hundreds of casino games right at your fingertip. Join thousands discovering why Fortune Coin is one of Alberta's most popular games. Fill your reels with golden coins, multiply your prizes up to 6 times, and turn good spins into legendary ones. Land the Fortune Coin symbol to win cash, trigger the jackpot, launch the free spins bonus, and watch as the dragon takes over your screen. New players get 100 free spins only on PlayAlberta.ca. Claim your offer today.
It's the season for love, and you're about to fall hard for the vehicle of your dreams. Presenting the outstanding 2025 XC90 from Volvo Cars Edmonton. Right now, you can lease your 2025 XC90 plug-in hybrid from 1.49% and save $4,600. Or finance a 2025 XC60 from 1.49% and save $1,500. All while being deeply infatuated by the newly upgraded, highly attractive body and wheel design. Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. 1205 101 Street Southwest.
It's the 2-day customer appreciation event at Vitality Health Foods. They're offering 25% off regularly priced products in stock, like Dr. Klein's Shilajit, featuring pure Himalayan Shilajit. Customer appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of each month. Visit Vitality Health Foods today.
Are you tired of waking up tired? Are you tossing and turning all night and stiff and sore the next morning? If your sleep is suffering, it's time to visit the Brick Mattress Store. Their sleep experts will help you find the right support for restful night's sleep. Back sleeper, side sleeper, hot or cold, there is a perfect mattress for you. Plus, with next day delivery, your best night's sleep could be tomorrow. Check out the Brick Mattress Store locations in Spruce Grove, South Edmonton, St. Albert, Leduc, and start waking up refreshed.
Riverside Marine and Motorsports are back for the 2025 Edmonton Boat and Sportsman Show, March 21st and 23rd. Discover new 2025 models and exclusive offers like Yamaha finance rates and big rebates. Riverside Marine and Motorsports. What you do for fun is our business.
Roll Up to Win is back at Tim Hortons with millions of prizes, like a vacation with Sell Off Vacations or a Tracker Off-Road ATV from Bass Pro Shops. Play on the Tim's app until March 23rd. Rules apply, Canada only. No purchase necessary. Visit the Tim's app for details.
Diablo Boots in Canada West, the two best names in work, biker, and western boots. Diablo has been selling quality Canadian boots for over 60 years, from size 6E to 15EE. Why buy boots made in China like Ariat, Redwing, and Dakota, when Diablo Boots has the best quality for less? Made in Winnipeg. Plus, all of Diablo Boots have replaceable soles and heels for longer life. So save on boots by Save on Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard, on the east side of Save on Foods.
New Edge Construction wants you. We are hiring for several positions. Join a leading civil construction group in the Edmonton region. A strong team, competitive wages, retention bonuses, and current model equipment are what awaits you at New Edge. Go to newedgeconstruction.com. That's NUEDGE construction.com.
Join a leading civil construction group in the Edmonton region. Start your career now. Go to newedgeconstruction.com.
Hair Aware with Dr. Vance Elliott.
Hey, Dr. Vance, does a hair transplant have to look like a hair transplant? There's a guy at work, his is totally obvious.
My goal is to give every one of my patients a full, natural-looking head of hair, so I stay up to date on the latest innovations. This is science, and more importantly, an art. I do things differently and move more hair than is normally done, resulting in a thicker look that is also more natural.
Trust a world-renowned expert in hair restoration. Book an appointment at drvanceelliott.com today.
Explore Internet just got 10 times faster. 5G Ultra brings incredible speeds to homes in rural and small town Canada. Upgrade today at xplore.ca.
This is the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440. Favorite us right now.
Powered by playalberta.ca. If you gamble, use your game sense. Learn more at gamesense.ab.ca.
Yeah. Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows. Locally manufactured and installed, Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by playalberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
549. Welcome back. Big shout out to everybody who helped in the donations. They raised $2,200 for the Hope Mission. So thank you very much for being part of that. That's great. Some of the people that really could use your help, but well, anytime really. Now let's get to the lineup brought to you by Sherwood Power Sports and Marine, where it's home of the $50 bi-weekly ATV. Close your eyes, picture yourself on a boat next summer for as low as $105 bi-weekly. Hockey fans helping hockey fans with motorcycle squads, e-bikes, and boats. That's Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. The Edmonton Oilers lineup tonight. There's some exciting storylines we really haven't touched on a whole bunch, but you will see young Matt Savoy making his first home start as a member of the Edmonton Oilers, and the team closest to his hometown is from St. Albert, of course, but obviously grew up an Oilers fan. He's going to play with Draisaitl and Podkolzin. Maybe Arvidsson, we'll see. Nugent, Hopkins, McDavid, and Hyman. You got Henrique, Brown, and Janmark, Kasperi, Kapanen, Perry. And so Podkolzin and Arvidsson, we're not sure if Arvidsson's with Draisaitl or if it's Podkolzin with Draisaitl and Savoy. We'll find out in the warm-up. Ekholm, Bouchard, Nurse being cleared to play. Kulak looks like he's back and is over his illness. So Cam Dineen, who was emergency recalled yesterday, he was sent back down today. Calvin Pickard will get the start in goal for the Edmonton Oilers. That is his first back-to-back regular season starts as a member of the Edmonton Oilers. He was spectacular in their victory over Carolina. Meanwhile, the Ducks will have Ryan Strome with Troy Terry and Frank Vetrano. Mason McTavish, who has 11 points his last 12 games, with Cutter Gauthier, who has 5 goals in that time. Sam Colangelo. Also, you have Leo Carlson with Killorn and Trevor Zegras. Now, Carlson and Zegras, I'm not sure which guy if they ever shoot the puck. That's the one thing about Leo Carlson. If you watch him, they're going to have to try to figure out a way to get him to shoot the puck a little bit more. Isaac Lundstrom, Harkins, and Ross Johnson on the fourth line. Jackson Lacombe is their top line left defenseman. He's playing with Gudis. He's playing over 23 minutes. He has 3 goals, 10 points in the last 12 games, and has been excellent against top quality competition, courtesy of Puck IQ. In those 12 games, he's outscored the opponents 10-2 when he's versus elite or middle competition. So pretty darn good. Then you got Mintikov and Trouba, followed by Brian Dumoulin and Drew Hellison. There's some rumblings about Dumoulin. Is he going to get moved potentially? Could see it. And in goal, it looks like it's going to be Mr. Dostal for the Anaheim Ducks tonight. Dostal, of course, he's the young guy of the future. So no John Gibson. Because if John Gibson was playing, it'd be like, oh, they're showcasing him. Now, well, I'm curious if Gibson gets dealt. Speaking of goalies, Vanacek is being held out of the game tonight for San Jose for trade purposes. And that's an interesting one to me. Now, Florida doesn't have a backup because right now, Chris Driedger is their backup. Chris Driedger has played 2 NHL games in the last 3 seasons. Right? They traded away Knight, so they're looking. But Vanacek, he's got a $3.4 million cap hit. The Sharks can't retain any salary, like none. So Florida would have to take half of its 1.7, and then if you trade him to them first, they'd have to make it so they trade to another team. That team gets them, then they retain 50%, and then Florida gets them. That's the only way, be a 3-way, but they can't cut it. Well, I guess unless they get a 4th team involved, which is possible. I guess it's just now you're getting 2 teams to retain, and you're giving the Sharks are giving them up. Like, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if indeed he's the team that does it. So we'll see. On behalf of Connor Halley, I'm Jason Gregor. Have yourselves a wonderful Tuesday evening. Enjoy the game. Let's get to the comment. Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home with no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. Stay warm all winter at legacyheating.ca. Good night.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
With the NHL's trade deadline just a few days away, the Edmonton Oilers getting some moves going, acquiring Trent Frederic and a Max Jones from the Boston Bruins. The Oilers sending defenseman Max Warner, a 2025 second-round pick, and a 4th-round pick in 2026 to Boston in the deal. New Jersey also receiving Shane LeChance from Edmonton for facilitating the deal, retaining 50% of Frederic's salary. The Oilers also received unsigned draft pick Peter Hauser from the Devils organization. Oilers in action tonight for about 10 minutes or 5 minutes leaving on the pregame show with myself and Donovan Paulson as they take on the Ducks. Puck drop just after 7. Bunch of games underway in the first intermission. Preds lead the Bruins 2-1. Scoreless between the Sharks and the Sabres. Canes up on the Red Wings 1-0. The Blue Jackets trailed Lightning 2-1. And the Flames have a 4-2 lead over the Philadelphia Flyers midway through the first out in New York. Islanders and Jets are scoreless. Later tonight, Devils taking on the Stars, Penguins in Colorado, and the Kraken hosting the Minnesota Wild. In the association, in the second quarter, the Raptors trail the Orlando Magic 40-33. We've also got the Pacers on top of the Rockets 53-46, and the Bucks lead the Hawks 24-23. Later this evening, Bulls host the Cavs, Sixers in Minnesota, Spurs taking on the Nets. You got the Clippers and Suns, and the Lakers hosting the Pelicans. From the AJ, Whitecourt heads to Bonnyville. That one will get going just after 7 o'clock. And in the PWHL, after 20 minutes, Minnesota and Montreal currently scoreless. That'll do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Coming up next, we've got pregame coverage with Donovan Paulson and myself. Then Fox Sports Radio, once the game wraps up, Brandon Douglas and Donovan back for your postgame coverage. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.